where a Great Britain team arrived by boat to play in Massachusetts at the Worcester Country Club. Originally, the competition comprised of 4 foursomes and 8 singles, with 4 balls not introduced until 1963. In the first 22 editions, when it was just Brits and Irish against the US, America only lost 3. So, in 1979, in came the rest of Europe, including the future 5-time Ryder Cup winner, Seve Ballesteros. Since Team Europe was established, the head-to-head reads Europe 13, USA 9. Home advantage is a big deal. Europe's last away win was the miracle at Medina in 2012, and America hasn't won on European soil since '93 at the Belfry. It's accepted that both teams tailor their home courses to suit their own players. For example, in Paris in 2018, Thomas Bjorn asked for the rough to be kept extra long beyond the green to target the big booming American drives. 10 years earlier, Paul Azinger did the opposite, and the Valhalla rough was trimmed right down. On both occasions, the home side were resounding winners. So what about the money? The most recent Ryder Cup in Rome drew in a record 271,000 spectators and boosted the Italian economy by €262 million. In the US, the PGA America TV deal with NBC is worth $440 million. But no Ryder Cup revenue has ever gone directly to individual players. That's until now. In 2025, for the first time ever, the US team will each receive a fee for playing in New York. Of course, in Rome, legend has it Patrick Cantley refused to wear his cap because he wasn't being paid to wear it, though he insisted it simply didn't fit. Either way, Team Europe have made it clear they're more than happy to keep playing for the sheer thrill, joy and prestige of the Ryder Cup.
Very good morning. 3 minutes past 6, Monday the 4th of August. This is talkSPORT Breakfast with Arnold Clark. Build your own car deal online, or with a few clicks they make buying your next car easy. I'm Jeff Stelling, and with you at Total 10 this morning, delighted to say Andy Townsend. Morning, Andy.
Good morning, Jeff. How we doing? All good?
Yeah, really good, mate. You? Good weekend?
Yes, good weekend and plenty happening. Yeah, really good weekend. And watched the Lions, watched a little bit of the cricket. It's a bit twitchy now, the cricket. Not done yet, is it?
It's very twitchy. Bit of a disaster for the game, to be honest, that they went off and didn't come back out, and 27,000 people went home, as Stuart Broad said, wearing their sunglasses.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it?
Crying shame.
But lots of good, great sport. Lewis Hamilton, well, it's been an interesting few days for him, hasn't it? Eh? Yeah, really has. You know, so there's plenty to get stuck into today for sure.
And did you catch any of our own Troy Deeney last night on Celebrity SAS?
Do you know, I when I got to the hotel last night, I quickly put it on and I saw it for about 5 minutes before I switched over, because I didn't see Troy. If I'd have seen Troy actually there, I would have hung on and watched it. So I didn't see what did he have to do.
Oh well, he was excellent in the first part of the task, and I'm flicking back and forwards because there was a real conflict of interest in the sense that Manchester United are playing Everton in a pre-season friendly on one side. Love Island has reached its penultimate episode on the next side, and then Celebrity SAS is on the next side. So Troy, well, one of the first things he had to do was jump off this sort of platform 30 feet above the ocean and then swim, you know, fully clothed, to a speedboat that was approaching towards him. And you had to get there before the speedboat passed. He had failed, and only 3, I don't know how many there are in this, but only 3 passed, and Troy was the most impressive.
He was one of them. Good boy.
He was.
Yeah.
But then the second test, they had to rescue a couple of hostages from, you've seen it before, you know the plan. Rescue a couple of hostages from a building, and Troy and his partner rescued one, and then Troy lobbed a grenade into another room where unfortunately the other hostage would have been waiting. So that was a humongous fail.
Yeah.
But then he was brought in front of the various taskmasters and things, and it was a very moving section where he was very open, talked about his childhood and the issues talked about prison. He was, absolutely bared his soul.
Wow.
I feel like I found it very
good,
very moving. I mean, maybe because I know him, but it was excellent. I thought it was excellent. So, second episode, you don't have to mess around. It's on tonight.
Not right.
So,
we'll have a look at that later on and see if we can see a bit more of him.
We should mention the EFL was back.
Of course, it was
at the weekend. Of course, which was. Brilliant. Well, not all of it was brilliant, but some of it was brilliant. I calculated 7 penalties scored, 4 red cards, 5 own goals. So, referees were kept busy during the course of the weekend. Yep. That is for sure.
Yep, I saw, Luton obviously getting off to a winning start in League One, so they needed that one.
It was a hard watch.
I bet it was.
Believe you me.
I bet. Well, did you watch it, Jeff?
I watched some of it.
Did you?
Some of it, yeah. Hard watch.
You know what? They managed to get that done. I see Ian Holloway. I see Holly's having a bit of a pop at someone from his own section of the ground that's been throwing stuff, and fair play to him for that. He's quite right to dig people like that out, and because someone must have. Perhaps I'd like to think someone see it, Jeff, and someone knows who that individual is, because we can't have that. So yeah, that was interesting to see Ian Holloway. Certainly not holding back in any way, shape, or form.
A great start for Lee Grant. It was his first game in charge as a coach. And he'd been given the big build-up because he'd been, at Ipswich with Kieran McKenna. Let's see how much has rubbed off on him. So he's in charge at Huddersfield. They made a 3-0 winning start, so that was pretty good. Tough for Tom Cleverley.
Right, yeah.
At Plymouth, and they lost at home. Pretty comprehensively beaten in terms of score, anyway.
Yes,
by Barnsley. Even though Barnsley played the last half hour with 10 men, so difficult.
The other one that sort of was interesting was watching Russell Martin up at Rangers.
Oh yes,
right now obviously that sort of late equaliser against them has cost them, and he didn't hold back. Do you know what? A lot of people have said, "Oh, you can't do that. You're throwing your players under a bus. You can't do this." I totally disagree. I think part of any manager's part of the tools that they use is a bit of unpredictability, Jeff. Managers that are a little bit unpredictable. I think if your players are second guessing you every 5 minutes and they know what you're going to say, know what you're going to do, and then that ain't right either. So I don't blame Russell in some ways for feeling like he wasn't happy with it, and he's let them know about it. I'm sure whatever he said publicly, you'd like to think again that was said to them all individually, face to face after the game. But I don't think it's a bad thing sometimes to let them have a little bit like that.
We'll come back to that.
Yeah.
During the course of the morning last night, the sort of pre-season friendly competition, or was it the summer series or whatever, continued in the States. I thought West Ham were pretty decent, actually.
Right.
Especially their new... well, you assume he's a sort of wing-back and full-back or whatever. Was absolutely brilliant, provided a great cross for Jaron Bode's second goal. So they beat Bournemouth 2-0.
Right.
Bournemouth... I'm worried for them.
Right.
Worried for them. And of course, Manchester United drew 2-2 with Everton. It was a really decent game, actually.
Was it?
It was a really decent game. And before we go, we probably won't talk too much about Everton this morning, but I would say 2 things. Iliman Ndiaye.
Good player.
Absolutely excellent.
Doesn't he travel and carry the ball well, Jeff? He does. Good player.
Very, very good. And you know who really, really impressed me? And I've always been his biggest fan, but last night, James Garner.
All right.
Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
Clever
footballer.
Everton.
Yeah, good player.
Really good player.
Yeah.
And of course, from a United perspective, Brandon Boomer made his debut.
Right.
But it's his boss, Ruben Amorim, who's all over the back pages this morning, saying that he wants to do a Fergie.
I want to be manager of Manchester United for for a while, and I took 5 years to choose this club, so I don't want to fail. That is the only pressure. I want to stay 20. That is my goal, and I truly believe in that. And my idea is to stay for many years. But again, we know that the results will dictate that. I know that last season I used all the credit, but I'm ready to start fresh.
Well, don't worry, Ruben. Stay a couple of years, it'll seem like 20. With the way things have been, that is for sure. I think there's a lot more optimism around Old Trafford. Look, he's one of the things I really like about him is he's open and honest and frank. Maybe too open, some people would say, but there's nothing wrong with him saying he wants to stay for 20 years, is there?
No, I don't think there is at all. I mean, look, in this day and age, it would be quite remarkable if he did half that. Never mind 20. Look, I think first and foremost, as you say, Jeff, he's got to get off to a decent start this season. They've got to banish all of what happened last time round to the back of their minds. They've got some good new players in through the door. There's still 2 or 3 that he wants to get shot of, and we'll see what happens between now and the end of the transfer window. But I cannot believe for 1 minute that they will have anything like the season they had last time round. But whether or not they actually end up in and around it in the top 8, 7 is a debate. I think that's a good debate, and I'm not sure. Not at the moment.
And how's this for honesty? I mean, last season they won 7 out of 27 league games, but Amorim said there were times when he'd go to matches and he knew his side would probably lose.
To tell you the truth, is not how I return to my house after the games, how I left to go to the games, because I felt that sometimes we will struggle. All the struggles that we had in the games, I feel it before the game. So that is the hardest part, is to go to the game and know that we are not going to be competitive how we should be.
Ruben! Be a Hartlepool fan. You feel like that every week. Sorry, apologies to Simon Grayson and the gang up there. It's just, Well, it's honest. He can't afford to have that feeling this season, can he?
No, look, he knows full well that the eyes of the whole wide world are watching him and what he does, and they want to see a different attitude to the way that they go about it at Old Trafford. They need better results, of course. I do believe that they will get a better look about them this season, but as I said, I'm not convinced, Jeff, with what they have defensively at the moment. I'm not totally convinced about where they're going to end up. In 8-10 months' time.
And defensively, last night, even in a pre-season game, of course there were a lot of changes.
Yep.
They were very worrying. Right. Very worrying. However, on the plus side, Mason Mount came on in the second half as a substitute. He scored a brilliant goal and he was outstanding.
Well, that's good, because again, when Mason was in the blue at Chelsea, he was always such a threat in and around the edge of the box. He could shoot from distance, he could get on the end of things, he could make the difference in tight games for his team. Since he's gone to Old Trafford, injuries of course have hampered him massive, but he's not shown anything like, I think, what he's about. So that's good news, Jeff, to hear that he's coming on last night and with a bit about him and making and really having a go and looking sharp. I think that's because I honestly feel that Mason is good enough to not only just go into United and play, but to go into United and be one of their key players.
Oh, Andy, when he was at Chelsea, I was a big fan.
Me too.
But he just, for all sorts of reasons, just hasn't happened for him at Old Trafford. But look, good luck to him. If he can stay fit, seriously, when he made a difference when he came on last night, that is for sure. And by the way, don't forget, we will be joined by a Manchester United legend in the studio a little later. Rio Ferdinand's with us between 9 and 9:30. 03717 223344. Get your calls in for Rio at 9 o'clock. Coming up, why on earth have we had to wait till this morning to get a finish to the cricket? We'll discuss that next.
It's coming home, it's coming home, it's coming, football's coming home, it's coming home, it's coming home, it's coming.
Good morning, 6:18. This is talkSPORT Breakfast. I'm Jeff Stelling. Andy Townsend is with me. Bit of three lines for you to start the new week. Ian Brodie of the Lightning Seeds is 67 today. Happy birthday, Ian. You know, I was I like the Lightning Seeds. In their heyday, I think the album was Jollification, which was brilliant, and it had things like Oh Looky You and Perfect on.
Right.
Three Lions. Obviously, huge success on three occasions. I think 3 occasions they made number one in the charts in this country. But the most bizarre thing was that it was a top 50 single in Germany.
Was it really? Brilliant.
Why would any German music fan want to be going out and buying 3 lines on your chest?
Good shout. But it was a fantastic tune, and it was so right and so perfect for the time, and you know, around Euro '96 for England, around that sort of period, it was absolutely wonderful to see, really, and wonderful to watch. And I think it is lovely when the fans really can, like Sweet Carolina, they've picked up, a lot of fans have picked up on that in recent years, and they love singing that. But that's
the anthem, isn't it?
That is the anthem,
Absolutely. Scott, to Manchester United fan, says, talkSPORT, what are you on about? Issues defensively, that's our greatest strength. It's the other end of the pitch that concerns me. 16th in the league for goals scored. Scott, are you awake, mate? Are you? Wakey, that was last season, Scott.
Yes.
That's why you've signed Mbumo. That's why you signed Cunha. You have signed nobody defensively whatsoever. We are talking about the here and now, okay? So, Scott, you've got some defensive issues that need addressing. Take my word for it.
And it is true, because before those, and I think Cunha and Mbumo are good signings, but before those guys and the forward players can really start to flourish in any team, you've got to have something behind you that you know is regular, is consistent. It plays at a certain level that you can rely upon. Without that, you're in games 1 minute and you're out of them the next, and that can't happen for Manchester United this season. On the back of last year, they've got to show that they are moving forward, and the coach has got to show that he can sort a back three, whatever it's going to be, Jeff, and he can get them right.
Harry Maguire didn't start last night,
right,
but he came on in the second half, and honestly, it was one of the biggest cheers of the night.
Was it?
It was great. I mean, from Maguire's point of view,
because he's stuck. He's hung in there, Harry, hasn't he? There was that period where it looked like he might be going to West Ham, he never happened, and he was getting dog's abuse at times. Harry got some horrible abuse, but he's stuck at it, and I think everyone respects him for that.
Yes. We'll get Rio Ferdinand's views, Manchester United legend, between 9 and 9:30 about United's defence and whether they do need reinforcements before the start of a new season. It's very nearly 6:22. Let's take a look at today's back pages with Tesco Mobile for Business.
The Back Page Review on talkSPORT with Tesco Mobile for Business. Got a side hustle baking bread? Improve your take-home dough with business phone bills for up to 40% less than the big three networks. For verification, see tescomobile.com/business.
And Siobhan is back with us. Morning, Siobhan.
Really hesitated with the back then. She's back.
No, because I could see you were putting your earpieces in that one.
Yes.
Okay.
Do you want to see my foot? That's all I can think about.
Your foot?
Yeah, have
what
a
have you
look at
done?
this. Have a look at this. Right, so I don't know if I've been bitten.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, very red, isn't it?
Now,
Yeah, it is.
What do we think? Hold on, let me get on the camera.
Looks like gout to me.
It's not. Hold on. Oh no, that's the ugly bit. Oh, anyway, that's not going to work. Now it's spreading up. You see?
Yeah, I can. Yeah.
I'll show you my other foot for full.
That's not a sting there, Siobhan.
Must
right
be
there.
something.
It looks like
that's what it looks like, and it's spreading out from there.
Yeah.
I've drawn the line, guys. So if I don't make the next hit, you'll know what's happened.
All right, no problem.
Any advice?
Do you know I got stung on the wrist here, literally right on the vein on the underside of my wrist, and Siobhan, it was up here, like ridiculous. And I thought to myself, hang about, where's this going? You know, and it was completely swollen, all my arm and my shoulder, everything. So keep your eye on that.
Talking about being stung, by the way, I mean, 27,000 cricket fans are going to be stung.
You'd be raging, wouldn't you? You'd be furious.
Wow. Yeah.
Well, it's the ones who paid to go today. Don't get the money back.
They don't get it.
Yeah.
No, not a penny.
Listen,
If a ball is bowled,
That's it.
then they pay. So 27,000 people will be turning up at the Oval. I mean, it's great from cricket's coffers point of view, isn't it? Because had that ended last night, that's 27,000 times, I don't know, how much is it to get in? 60, 70, 80 quid?
Yeah.
You know, that they wouldn't be getting. They'll have to give
How
that
else
money
could
back.
they go? But what else could they do? What else could they do?
Well,
in that scenario?
what they could do is not say, well, we're stopping at 6:42. When, as Stuart Broad pointed out, people are heading for the tube station with their sunglasses on.
Yeah.
Anyway,
exactly.
sorry, Shaban.
No, not at all. It's all over the back pages today. Back page of the Times. 35 runs, 4 wickets, 1 last day. Brook and Root hit centuries, and Woakes ready to bat and sling. The dramatic Test series between England and India has gone into the final day. England still needing 35 to win and could finish with a heroic sight of Chris Woakes, who has dislocated his shoulder, going out to bat to see his side victory. The series at 3-1. I mean, the drama that adds to that as well, the pain that he must be in, the discomfort, but knowing and having that. I'm going to try and get through this. Is just adding to it.
Well, welcome to the game, Chris, because the first thing he's going to get, first ball is going to be a bumper, it's going to be a bouncer. They're going to try and hit him, and who wouldn't?
Yeah.
You know, if England are, in my opinion, foolish enough to send him out, you know, when he's clearly in that sort of situation, then he's got to be treated by the Indians as if he was fully fit. England will be hoping it doesn't get to that stage. They'll have been happy to go off last night.
Yeah.
Because, God, they were hanging on, couldn't score a run. The ball was beating the bat all of the time. So they'll have been pleased not to come back on last night.
Yeah, unforgettable series remains tantalising to its very last act. We'll have all the updates on talkSPORT for you today from the Oval. I mean, just in terms of like the light, you know, the umpires coming out with their light meters and whatever like that. They've got floodlights. But I mean, is it not just a bit of a? It's not just a bit, or like you say, England maybe would have been licking their lips at the prospect and going, "Okay, great, this gives us a moment to breathe," kind of thing. Maybe this is what they needed. But I mean, that's miles off it, no?
It is. I mean, it went off for light and then it rained. But they're saying, the ground staff are saying, after a shower, the shower stopped at 5:59.
Yeah.
And for some reason, and I'm sure cricket experts, you know a lot more than me, will tell me why the game had to restart by 6:42. And the ground staff said they couldn't get it ready in time. They could. How many ground staff? There are hundreds of them, for goodness sake. You know, I just don't understand. Stuart Broad called it a lazy decision, and this is a man who's very recently out of the game. You know, he understands. He gets it. Cricket is a spectator sport. The series has been wonderful, and for it to have finished, in whichever way, on a Sunday evening in glorious sunshine, between two wonderfully matched sides, would have just been great for the game.
That's true.
It's like even the Lions at the weekend, it was unprecedented. You know, the fact that there was a lightning strike, one lightning strike, meant that everybody in the lower tier, all those fans had to be filtered at the stadium. And then there was a half-hour delay when there's the strike of lightning, and then it's an 8-minute warm-up for the players after that. So it was 45 minutes it took from them to all go off and come back on again. Like I say, I mean, David Campese was with us in that show. He was fuming. He's like, what, a lightning strike and it all just stops kind of thing. But, I mean, the light situation is
it is a difficult one, isn't it? Knowing I mean, again, then obviously the teams can't be consulted over light, Jeff, can they? Because one team would obviously want to come off and the others would want to stay out there. So you can't even involve the two captains in anything like that. It is a difficult one, but you're right, the fans there will have been going home feeling a little bit bemused as to why they didn't keep going.
Yeah, that is for sure. I mean, obviously with the rugby, I get it. It was anticlimactic in the end, but you just can't. If it's like in golf, you know, when the bell goes, the klaxon goes. Correct. You get off the golf course, because if there's a chance that somebody will be struck by lightning, chance you can't take. It goes without saying, doesn't it?
Does indeed.
Yeah. It was in the end a bit like the Lions on Saturday, a damp squib, to be brutally honest. Thanks, Shaban.
Thank you.
Well done, Shaban.
That was a look at today's back pages with Tesco Mobile for Business. Coming up, what makes someone a Premier League legend? We'll discuss that next.
The Back Page Review on talkSPORT with Tesco Mobile for Business. Got a side hustle baking bread? Improve your take-home dough with business phone bills for up to 40% less than the big three networks. For verification, see tescomobile.com/business.
Shin pads are a footballer's best friend. Even if players like Jack Grealish do wear such small ones you can barely even see them. But what's the story with shin pads, and are there actually any rules on how big they should be? It all started with cricket, actually. Cricketers had been wearing shin pads since the 1700s. It was thanks to this guy that shin protection made its way over to football. Meet Samuel Widdowson. He was a cricketer and a footballer. He played for Nottingham Forest back in the late 1800s, and he wanted a way to protect his legs from nasty tackles. Naturally, his mind drifted to his other favourite sport, where players had been wearing these pads for a century. Story goes, Widdowson cut up his cricket pads and popped them on before taking to the footy pitch. His Nottingham Forest team then began wearing them from 1887, and the first known use of them in a match was in 1894, in a match between Newcastle and the then Woolwich Arsenal. Eventually, FIFA clocked on that this kind of protection was pretty important for footballers. And so, in 1990, basically 100 years after Widdowson first put them on, shin pads were made compulsory. It became part of Law 4 of IFAB. That's the body responsible for setting the laws of the game internationally. But the law doesn't actually specify anything about measurements of shin pads. It just says they must be made of a suitable material and be of an appropriate size to provide reasonable protection. It's really vague, even though there have been calls for it to be changed. But for now, that's why Grealish and co can still get away with these ones, which are no bigger than a credit card and which seem to offer little to no protection whatsoever.
Good morning to you. This is talkSPORT Breakfast with Arnold Clark, 6:34. Get the UK's best used car deals guaranteed. I'm Jeff Stelling. Andy Townsend is with me. Now, after 454 games, 173 goals and 1 trophy, Son Heung-min has called his time on his Spurs career. But does he leave as a Premier League legend? Sean Custis and Henry Winter had exactly that debate on the Sunday edition yesterday.
As a club legend, probably. As a Premier League legend?
Well, it depends what's your cut-off.
Well, I mean, Thierry Henry's a Premier League legend. Yep. Dennis Bergkamp is. Didier Drogba's probably a Premier League legend.
Definitely.
David
Do you have had to have won the title to be a Premier League legend? I mean, it's a debate. Maybe we should do something on it sort of more regularly, just sort of looking at what exactly defines a legend. But certainly from Tottenham's perspective, absolutely. And look, you have to put him up as one of the most influential foreign players.
Yeah. Define legend in the Premier League. I mean, that's the thing. You know, if you looked at individual clubs, Andy, I would argue that some people like James Milner when he was at Liverpool, Mark Noble at West Ham, are legends for their clubs. I don't think it matters whether you've won anything or not.
No, I would agree with that. I think as well as the difference the guys they were just debating. If we're talking about a greatest ever Premier League 11, then I don't think Son would get in that. But I had this conversation I think with Andy Goldstein on a show, Jeff, 6 months ago or sometime during last season, and I think the same question was asked about Son. And about being a legend. I think when you look at his numbers, when you look at obviously the importance of Spurs winning that trophy last season, big European trophy, I don't know whether and Spurs fans are better equipped than me, obviously, to let us know whether or not they feel he would get an all-time Tottenham 11. I probably, my gut says no, but there might be people coming
immediately, top of my head, Hoddle, Sheringham, Gascoigne, Harry Kane, Luka Modric.
All of those forward players, they've had so many. You're absolutely right. Chrissy Waddle.
Go back to Martin Chivers,
Jurgen Klinsmann,
like
Gary Lineker. They've had some amazing players. Perhaps some Spurs fans will tell us whether or not they feel he would be in an all-time Spurs 11. Certainly an all-time Spurs Premier League 11. Absolutely, I think yes. I think his numbers, his stats, and I think the way he's gone about his work, the way he's gone about his job, he's a sort of uncomplicated boy that just wants to come in and do what he does. And I think for a while, Jeff, he had a few seasons where I actually thought, obviously Harry always got the numbers and the goals. I actually thought there was a few seasons where Son, I think, could have gone and played for anybody in Europe, anybody at all. He could have played for Real Madrid. He was that good for a while, really, really top draw. And I think he's leaving at absolutely the right time. He's had 10 big years, and good luck to him.
And I think that's spot on. You know, what helps him to be a Spurs legend, it's not just ability. It's his attitude, his likability.
Correct.
You know, and that's why I mentioned Mark Noble in that sense at West Ham. You know, I mean, nobody would argue that Mark Noble is a West Ham legend. He clearly is. I've got a text here saying, Jeff, let's call a spade a spade. Son is never a Premier League legend. There are hundreds of players better than him over the last 30 years. Spurs fans, that's up to them in regards to their club legend status. And I sort of get that. Yeah.
It's very much, it's always up for debate, this sort of stuff. And it's always, you get two Spurs fans talking about it. One will say, yep, he should be in, and others will find reasons to say no. But there were times, there was a few times I watched him last season. His confidence had gone a little bit, and he was just getting to that point where you're thinking, it's never nice to see a player that's been so good all of a sudden starting to just drop off the standards and not being able to hit the heights anymore. That's why I think it's absolutely the right time to go.
Yeah, George, the Villa fans, just texted as well, said, how come you haven't mentioned Gareth Bale? And there you go. I mean, there is a long list. There is a long list.
There really are.
Right now, it is time for this.
10K for Coldplay.
Yes, it's our competition to win 10 grand on a VIP night out with Coldplay at Wembley. It ends tonight. We're giving you the chance to win 6 tickets in a private box for you and your mates on August the 22nd with full hospitality, and we're chucking in that 10 grand spending money tax-free. So it all ends at 11 o'clock this evening. This is how to enter. 18 plus UK excluding Northern Ireland. For a chance to win, text the word WIN to 83338. By 11 o'clock tonight, and you're in the draw. Text costs £2 plus one standard network rate message. You must have the bill payer's permission, or you can post your name and number to Coldplay Competition, PO Box 3190, Colchester CO2 8GP, and that has to arrive by 5 o'clock on the 7th of August. So that's Thursday, isn't it? 5 o'clock in the evening on the 7th of August. This is a talkSPORT limited promotion run on talkSPORT, Talk and Virgin radio stations. Full T's and C's at talksport.com.
What's the best thing you've ever won?
The best thing I've ever won.
Have you ever actually won? And have you ever had a little where you thought, blimey, I've only gone and won this or won something? No. I've never entered anything like that.
I'm not a winner. I'm not a competitor. You know.
No.
So no.
No, I'm just thinking that prize, which is it's a fantastic prize, by the way. Someone's going to be getting the shout a bit later on. It's a brilliant prize and will be a fantastic surprise to somebody.
Yeah, but, I mean, my big issue would be with it. I have to find 5 friends, and I think I'd be struggling, to be brutally honest.
I said to Big Al the other day on the back of that, Jeff. I said to him, I said, that's a good prize, Al. I said, you could take a few, you could take. I said, but would you share a bit of the 10 grand you win as well? And he went, no. He said, I ain't giving him anything.
Love it. Someone we've talked about legends, by the way. Someone who definitely is a legend is 7-time Formula 1 world champion Lewis Hamilton. Things not going to plan at Ferrari, though. Qualified 12th in the Hungarian Grand Prix. He said he's useless. Maybe Ferrari should look for a new driver, and he doubled down on those comments, by the way, after he finished the race where he started 12th. Let's wrap up all the action in Hungary and find out why Lewis is so miserable with F1 YouTuber and podcaster Tom McCluskey. Morning, Tom.
Good morning, gents. Thanks for having me.
So, look, I mean, Lewis called himself useless pre the Hungarian Grand Prix. And said that Ferrari probably need to change driver. And he sort of doubled down on that afterwards. What on earth is going on?
Yeah, no, it's been a difficult even his last year at Mercedes in 2024, there were a number of times where Lewis was, really heart on sleeve, really honest with his assessment of his performances in the moment. I think this has consistently been something Lewis does do. He really does reflect. He takes a lot of the burden on himself. And of course, he's not useless. He's a 7-time world champion. But it just goes to show that this Ferrari dream has, I'm not going to call it a nightmare just yet, but it's certainly not going to plan, is it?
No. Tomo, he spoke, didn't he, about stuff going on in the background as well. It was kind of a little bit sort of loose and a little bit vague. What do you think he was talking about there?
Cryptic, yeah, indeed. I mean, it's a great question. I think Ferrari have always come with a lot of baggage, ultimately, whether your team principal, Fred Vasseurs, been under a lot of pressure. He's just had his contract extended, fortunately. Many, Sebastian Vettel, Fernando Alonso, many a top driver has gone to that team and struggled and not realised the potential and not won world titles there. So, yes, there's a lot of change going into next year, big regulation shift for 2026. And honestly, it could be anything. What is Lewis talking about? Is he talking about himself? Is he talking about the lack of kind of feedback with the team? There's been a lot spoken about the difficult radio conversations between him and his race engineer. I mean, there's so many ways this could be going. It's not going well on track. That's what we know for a fact. Other than that, I mean, your guess is as good as mine, to be honest.
I mean, obviously, he's yet to get on the podium for Ferrari, and I think in the same time, Leclerc's been on the podium 5 times. So there is a gulf between the two at the moment. Lewis says it's not the car. Look, Tomo, he's 40. He looks disillusioned. He looks to have a lot of self-doubt. Is it time for him to call it a day?
I don't think it is, and I'm saying this because, the move to Ferrari was always going to primarily be about 2026. The opportunity with the new regulations, the new engines, the chassis are going to be very different. And 2025 was always going to be, I think realistically, it was always going to be tough. It was going to be a bit painful. Charles Leclerc is at the top of his game, the absolute top of his game. He's an incredibly high yardstick to match, and he's been at that team since 2019. So Lewis jumping into a brand new environment, having been at Mercedes and McLaren his entire career, it was always going to be a difficult period of kind of acclimatising to it. You kind of need to go through this hurt, and I still have belief that prime Lewis Hamilton is still there, especially in race. You know, one lap qualifying pace is one thing. You can lose a bit of that edge as you get older. I think this has been well documented across, you know, many drivers over the course of F1 history. But in race pace, his IQ, his race management, if they can give him a car, he can still be competitive at the front. He did win that sprint in China. It's not a proper podium, of course, but he showed that, you know, he got that opportunity and he took it. And that was only in his, second, third weekend, whatever it was, as a Ferrari driver. So I still have hope for Lewis, even if he's not believing in himself necessarily. I think as a fan of Lewis, always have been, like, I've not given up on him yet.
Tomo, we haven't even mentioned Lando Norris. Great weekend for him, but we're out of time. Thank you very much indeed.
Thanks, Tomo.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
And we talk about winners, by the way, which Lewis Hamilton certainly is one. Connor says, I won a tin of biscuits in the year 5 tombola. Yeah, I'm with you, Connor. That was sort of my level, but I was only runner-up in the year 5 tombola for that tin of biscuits, unfortunately. That was F1 YouTuber and podcaster Tomo McCluskey. Now still to come on breakfast.
Superstar Breakfast preview on talkSPORT with Travis Perkins. Find everything you need for your landscaping project in stock and available for delivery. Terms and conditions apply.
Manchester United fans, let's hear from you this morning. What do you make of Ruben Amorim admitting he went to games last season expecting his side to struggle? Has he done enough to claim he wants to do a Fergie and stay for 20 years? 03717223344 is the number. Give us a call. Let's have your views on last night as well and how you performed against Everton in the States. All that and more to come. And that was our look ahead with Travis Perkins.
Superstar Breakfast preview on talkSPORT with Travis Perkins. Join the club and get low trade prices. Find out more at travisperkins.co.uk or download the app.
Very good morning to you. This is talkSPORT Breakfast with me, Jeff Stelling and Andy Townsend. It's 6:50 exactly, Monday the 4th of August. We're asking, by the way, about things that you might have won during the course of your lifespan. And Andy in Falkirk says, this is to you specifically, Andy Townsend. He said, talking of things you've won, he said, I won a 43-inch telly in a talkSPORT competition about 15 years ago.
Great.
And it was you, Andy, and Porky Parry doing the show.
It would have been.
Do you remember that?
I don't actually remember it, but I wonder if, now that's interesting, because 15 years he's had that telly. I wonder if it's still going.
Yeah.
But do you know, I've always wondered about those that win the big lottery prize, Jeff. Because you wake up some days and you get that little email saying you've won a prize. Congratulations, you've won a prize on the national lottery, and you're thinking, oh, hang about, I haven't won a right few quid here. And of course, invariably, you've won £2.50, whatever it is. But I would imagine if you won something unbelievable, it's a phone call, isn't it? They're giving you a call. You're not going to wake up and read you've won like something ridiculous just on an email.
Yeah, absolutely. I think if you get the email, you get the text, then you haven't won big. You know, it's normally £2.36 or something, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah. Just say morning to Jill. She's listening this morning. She said, for the first time ever having a lie-in, I'm not too well. Looking forward to hearing Rio later as a United fan. Morning, dear Jill.
Morning,
I hope
Jill.
you're feeling better soon. Some of the headlines you're waking up to, talking of Manchester United, they finished their US tour with a 2-2 draw against Everton. It was a really decent game, as it happens. Japan's Miyu Yamashita pipped England's Charlie Hull to win the Women's Open at the Royal Porthcawl Golf Club in Wales. Couple of good rounds for Hull. I think 66 and 69 she finished with. The test series between England and India, absolutely in the balance. England need another 35 runs to seal the series. India are chasing another 4 wickets to level the series. Well, in theory, 4 wickets, because we're not sure about Chris Woakes. Joe Root, one of the stars of the day with another century, but all eyes are on whether Woakes will bat despite badly dislocating his shoulder. Here's Joe Root on what we can expect from Woakes.
If I can nick a spoiler out of you, but is Chris Woakes got his batting stuff with him? Might he bat
You
tomorrow?
probably saw him in his whites in the dressing room, so you know he's all in like the rest of us. It's been that kind of series where you guys have had to put bodies on the line, and you know, hopefully it doesn't get to that. But you know, he had some throwdowns in here, I think, at one point, and he's ready if needed.
He's got his arm in a sling. What's he going to do? What sort of shots is he going to be able to play?
I don't know. I mean, look, obviously you would have thought I would imagine if he does it. I mean, are you expecting him to go out first, Jeff, or not?
No, he won't. He'll be the last man.
He'll be the last man.
He'll be hoping that Jamie Smith can score enough runs to get England over the line.
So I would imagine, look, he'll have a jab and he'll have whatever to try and to just kill the pain and just get him in a position where he can perhaps just relax a little bit. Nothing worse for a sportsman when you take to the field and you've had jabs here, or you've got a problem with something that's really hurting and really playing you up and restricting your movement. And for someone like Chris Woakes, you know, that's to have done his shoulder as he has is a serious issue.
Yeah, absolutely. We're asking about things that you've won, by the way. Listen to this. Dave says, I won Honoured Citizen of the Year in Leicester for saving a drowning baby from the canal. Dave,
wow,
well
Dave.
done you.
That's
congratulations.
amazing.
Actually, he says, he's corrected himself, said it was a toddler, not a baby. I was sort of on the other end of that. I was on holiday in Barbados once, and I got trapped on some rocks and got a bit of cramp. I was about 100 yards from the shore. It was pathetic. There's a bloke came out with a bright green lilo to rescue me. It was one of the most humiliating experiences. A big crowd on the beach as well. You know, all waiting to see this muppet of a presenter being hauled back into shore.
Yeah. Do you know, I can still see my dad, God bless it. I was doing spot the ball, Jeff. Do you remember Spot the Ball?
Yeah, very well, yeah.
There'll be young'uns out there. Listen, what on earth is Spot the Ball? You had to put a cross. There was a picture of a football game, and there was sort of 3 or 4 guys looked like they're going to head it, all staring at the same sort of spot. You had to put a cross, and you could pay for 50 crosses, 100 crosses, 200 crosses, whatever, and you had to get the ball right in the centre of that cross, didn't you?
Yeah.
To win the proper prize, which was, and I can still see my old man doing that night. You know, before the pools man would knock on your door, pay for it, and away you go, and you'd have to wait a week and find out whether you'd won. But it was that was entertainment years ago.
Yeah. Vince said, Andy's right. My folks won over £300,000 on the postcode lottery. They don't email you for that one.
Brilliant.
Thanks very much indeed for that, Vince. And Shaban is back with us for a bit of this.
You're simply the best.
So, Shaban, what have you got?
Oh, Rangers.
Oh.
Rangers. Welcome back to the new season. Ali McCoist, if you are listening. Good morning. Rangers dropped points in the opening game of the season against Motherwell. 1-1, a very poor performance at that. But the big news is that the new manager, Russell Martin, literally machine gunned the dressing room at full time. Here you go.
I think we were lucky to get a point. We were nowhere near where we need to be, and I'm extremely disappointed and hurt by that. They were braver than us, they were more aggressive than us. There is a default here. The default is to revert to type, which is when it's going really well, everyone's all in, it's really good. When it's not going well, you protect yourself a little bit, and the self-preservation stuff. So we had 2 men on the pitch today that want to do what they want to do. When you want to just jog around and do what you want to do, there's a big problem. So some of them have to drop their ego.
Yeah.
Come on, Russell, give him a little bit. There's nothing wrong with that, I don't think, Shaban. Yeah. Honestly, it was all we, and it wasn't. There was no names mentioned, nothing individual, or anything like that.
There were.
Was there?
Yeah, Dessers was the only one.
But he praised him, didn't he?
But in praising him.
So we know who he's not praising. He said that everybody else needs to take it.
Listen to this. Russell Martin, I quote, "There was no aggression, no courage, no intensity. I saw self-preservation on the pitch. If you don't want to run and fight, we have a big problem." Now, that wasn't yesterday. That was October 2024 when his Southampton side had lost against Bournemouth. So this is almost a little speech that he's got there when his team don't perform.
Oh, wow, okay. I mean, this is funny because online the Southampton fans have waded in the Rangers kind of forums to have their say on that as well and said, now speaking about ego, you might start to notice that maybe Russell Martin has a slight ego as well. And what you're saying there about maybe reciting some of the things that he'll say when it's been a poor performance is maybe something we'll start to spot. Some people saying that he's got an arrogance about him as well. You know, he plays this certain style, maybe the players can't play that way, maybe he'll have to adapt as well. However, Cammy Bell, former keeper for Rangers, was on at the weekend on talkSPORT, and he said that a lot of the Rangers fans will welcome this. But now it is up to him. I mean, they're playing tomorrow, aren't they, in qualifying for the Champions League? The players who haven't stepped up, will he drop them? Will he have the accountability for that?
Yeah. Shaban, you can't massage players every time after a game, whether if they've been hopeless, if they've been rubbish. Sometimes it can sting a little bit, the criticism, if it is public. If it's individual, I get it. I think you have to draw the line at that. But what he said there in a generic kind of way, I don't have a problem with that, and I think the players go home, they know exactly what he means, and there'll be one or two of those who'll be thinking, is it me? Is it me? You know, and I don't think that's a bad thing sometimes for a manager to have in his locker. I really don't.
Go lay down the law early.
Of course you have.
You know, these are my standards. This is what I expect from you lot, and hopefully from his point of view and Rangers' point of view, they'll get the reaction that he's hoping for and probably expects in Europe this week.
Is it too early? Like day one of the
No. Lay down the law straight away. This is what I expect.
Yeah.
And these are my standards.
I mentioned, Shaban, about a bit of unpredictability as a coach. I honestly think sometimes when you're in a dressing room and you're expecting a rollicking and you don't get it. And then another time you'll be expecting a little bit of a pat on the back. That don't come either. And then you get praised lavished upon you when you might think I didn't really get it or I didn't really deserve it. I don't think there's anything wrong with a coach having that group of players and just keeping them guessing a little bit, particularly early on.
Shaban, thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shaban. How's the foot?
Oh, guys.
Is it any worse or not? Has it gone outside that?
No,
that
it's still inside the line. Inside the line.
Okay.
Tony the Welkman on an overcast Bognor Beach says, I won a day for two driving 4 supercars at Silverstone and £1,000 on talkSPORT about 20 years ago. talkSPORT seem to give away a lot of stuff, don't they? You know? These are our salaries we're talking about now that they're playing with. 03717223344. Rangers fans, if you want to have your say on Russell Martin's comments, do you like him calling out the players? Up next, Son has played his last game for Spurs, but how damaging is James Maddison's injury for Thomas Frank's first season in charge? We'll discuss that next with Harry Redknapp.
Corinthian Casuals are a team in the Combined Counties League Premier Division South. Despite that, they're one of the most important clubs in world football. Here's why. The club was formed in 1939 as a result of a merger between Corinthians FC and Casuals FC. Now, Corinthians FC were founded in the late 1800s when the FA's top brass were sick of getting pumped by Scotland every time they played them. As a result, a man called Nicholas Lane Jackson set up an amateur side which would bring in the best players who could all play for the national side. And it worked. It wasn't long before England were dominating the international fixtures they played, and it was largely down to Corinthians. In fact, in 1894 and 1895, they played consecutive games where Corinthians provided the entire England 11. But the thing is, the players refused to play professional football. They didn't believe in it. They wanted to spread the values of sportsmanship, competition, and played for the love of the game. It also helped that most of the players were Oxbridge graduates who didn't need the money. But instead of entering the league and cup competitions, they played exhibition football and toured the world, bringing the beautiful game with them. And it was this which spread the game throughout the world and made it so popular. Most famously, in 1910, they travelled to Brazil. And the locals in Sao Paulo were so impressed, they started their own team under the same name. Yes, the same Corinthians who won the FIFA Club World Cup in 2021, one of the biggest football teams in Brazil. Now, they were global superstars, and despite not being professional, Corinthians drew in the crowds. Everybody wanted to play them, everybody wanted to watch them. So much so, they regularly played the winners of the FA Cup in what eventually became the Community Shield, winning most of the time. They actually inflicted Manchester United's worst defeat, 11-3, a record which still stands to this day. Now, fast forward to today, Corinthian Casuals still don't pay their staff or players. The ethos of sportsmanship is still at the heart of everything that they do. And even though they're a side in the lower leagues, if you make the trip to King George's Field in Tolworth just off the A3, you'll most likely bump into Brazilian Corinthians fans who often make the pilgrimage across the globe just to watch their founding team play.
Good morning, this is talkSPORT Breakfast with the Arnold Clark app. Buy a car and opt into Arnold Clark Rewards to enjoy access to great giveaways and everyday perks. I'm Jeff Stelling, Andy Townsend is with me. We're asking what you won during the course of your lifetime. Warren from Lincoln, this is brilliant. Warren from Lincoln says, I won 660 cans of Castlemaine 4X beer, guessing how many runs David Gower would score in the Ashes series in the late 80s. An articulated lorry had to squeeze down our road to deliver. Brilliant.
660, I'll tell you what, 6 cans of that stuff and you'd be rocking. Never mind 660.
I'm guessing you must have got 1 can for every run he scored, you know. So Gribbo from Charlton says, I've won 3 competitions in my entire life. The meat raffle at the Peacock Public House in Gravesend, a Jack Pike shooting fleece in a Facebook competition, and the meat raffle at the Garibaldi Public House in Redhill. Good job I'm not a vegan, says Gribbo. Brilliant, mate. Right, first up this hour, Spurs are waving goodbye to one of their very best.
Spurs have agreed a £22 million deal with Bayer Leverkusen for South Korean forward Heung-min Son.
Drives the ball through the legs of the goalkeeper and in. It's a perfect counter-attacking goal from Tottenham Hotspur, who take the lead. It's his first Premier League goal.
He's had an unbelievable career here in which he's done just about everything.
Looking to make space for a shot. Oh, what a way to bring up a Premier League century of goals for Son's young men.
A truly Spurs legend in every aspect. I think one of the best players actually ever played.
Son who's taken it down, he's through on goal, he's rifled it past him, it's a brilliant finish. Kane's delivery, nobody now has combined for more goals than those two in the Premier League.
It's glory, glory, Tottenham Hotspur. Son has lifted the trophy and Spurs have won the 2025 Europa League.
Most difficult decision I made in my football career, I decided to leave this club in this summer. I came to North London as a kid and leaving this club as a grown man.
Yeah, and when he arrived, didn't speak a word of English, by the way. 454 games later, after 173 goals and 1 trophy, he's called time on his Tottenham career. He and Harry Kane hold the Premier League record for most goal combinations as duo, 47. Which of them is a bigger Spurs legend? Have a listen to Majestic and Alan Pardew on the final word.
Son or Kane, a debate that we've already had in my Spurs WhatsApp group.
Oh, you already had it?
There's a few WhatsApp groups, and Son has actually come on top very heavily.
Is that slightly emotional?
Yeah,
well, obviously the way Kane left and the way Son has left.
This is what I did want to go back at what Cass said, because he said, Harry could have went, plenty of times and he stayed for the cause. I think we often forget that Harry Kane was in a golf course with Gary Neville, basically trying to get a little bit of a move with the talking about going to Manchester City, if you remember rightly, before they bought Jack Grealish. I thought that was a bit, and that was the summer that, City came in for him. He was on a longer holiday. He didn't start the season. And again, who turned up on that first day of the season when we beat Manchester City? Heung-min Son. Nuno's first game, we beat Manchester City at home.
I think it's hard to say that Son was a bigger, Tottenham legend than Harry Kane. And I think Alan Pardew's question was right there. There's a sentiment involved because it's in the here and now. What do you think, Andy?
Yeah, no, I think there's something in that. You can't always leave clubs, even for those that you think would be absolutely revered. I mean, I remember one time, I think on this channel, Jeff, we were talking about when Harry Kane inevitably was going to move. I think there was a feeling he was going to move. Oh, well, look, there's got to be a statue of him. There's got to be this. And then the next minute, people are having a bit of a go because of the way that he kind of left, intimating that his time was sort of coming to an end. I think Harry Kane, when all things are considered, would be ahead of Son in terms of being an all-time great at Spurs. I think he would be.
Yeah. Let's get your view on this one. 03717223344 Is Son the bigger legend because he stayed and won a trophy? I don't think winning a trophy's got anything to do with it. But let's get the thoughts of the former Tottenham boss, Harry Redknapp. Morning, Harry.
Morning, Harry.
Yes, Andy, good morning.
So, Harry, in your eyes, Son, a Tottenham legend?
Yeah, for sure. I think he'd be a legend. He's had an incredible career. Looks a great guy as well, absolutely fantastic professional. But Harry Kane, I'd have to be in Harry Kane's camp as a bigger legend. So, but they've both been great players. But Harry would come out on top for me.
Yeah, Harry, I mentioned to Jeff a little while ago about there was a spell where Son was so good, wasn't he? He was so dangerous whenever he got the ball, and he was, whether it's assists, whether it's his own goal scoring, his numbers are good. But he had a couple of 3 seasons where I honestly felt could have gone and played for anyone, Harry, in Europe.
Yeah, no, he was fantastic. He's been a great player, as you say, Andy, and. When you look at him, what he seems to be, he looked like he enjoyed his football. There was never any nastiness to him. The crowd loved him. He brought a lot of support to the club, to be honest. His following from Korea, it was amazing, the amount of people that turned up to watch him from his homeland, So it was a great signing, there's no doubt, and he's been a great servant to the football club. It's sad to see him go, but, everything comes to an end in the end, and he's had his time, and, Tottenham are rebuilding this year, and I think they look like they're, maybe going to get 1 or 2 more in. And I think they'll have a much better season in the league this year than they had last year, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, 10 great years as far as Son is concerned. I mean, Tottenham, obviously, pre-season's always that sort of time where, as a manager, I guess you close your eyes and hope that there are no injuries, but James Maddison stretched it off against Newcastle, and it looks like a bad one. I mean, that's especially bearing in mind that they didn't get Morgan Gibbs-White. That's a massive blow for Tottenham, isn't it, Harry?
Absolutely, Jeffy. I mean, Maddison, when he's fit, is a fantastic player. He makes things happen. He's a great provider of the final pass for goals and can score as well. So it's a big loss, and it's sad for the lad. He really is an outstanding footballer. And as you say, Gibbs-White would have been perfect for him. I don't know what happened there. It looked like a bit of a mess. How that transfer all went wrong. A very strange one. But they just took, is it Polino they took from Bayern Munich, was at Fulham, and a good player.
Good player.
Yeah, a good player. So I'm sure they'll strengthen.
Yeah. What's your gut feeling, Harry, for Spurs this season? I'm not quite sure. I'm not quite sure exactly where I think they'll end up. Obviously, they've got Champions League, a lot to consider this time round. But what's your gut feeling for them?
I think they'll finish in the top 8, Andy, this year. I mean, last year in the league was a disaster. I can see them being top 8. I think that's where they'll be. I don't see them make it. Last year I was very bullish they'd make the top 4, and I was miles away. So I'm not the best judge in the world, it don't seem. But I think this year they'll certainly have a much better season in the league, and hopefully have a decent Champions League run. And who knows? Maybe the Carabao Cup or the FA Cup might be another cup competition where they might get their names on a trophy again. They've got a decent squad. The new guys walked into a great situation, really. I know they won a trophy, but in terms of the league, he's took over. It can only get better in the league for him, and I'm sure it will.
Harry, quick word about one of your other old clubs. I watched West Ham last night. Thought they were pretty decent, actually. They signed Callum Wilson. You surprised by that?
If Callum stays fit, he'll be an outstanding player for him. We all know he's had problems with injuries, Jeff. That's been the problem for Callum. But when he's on the pitch, he certainly is a good player. He's another good lad as well. So I'm hoping he goes there and does well. I watched the game last night. I mean, to be fair, Bournemouth could have been 2 or 3 up in the first 20 minutes or so. And Bournemouth look all right. I'm pleased to see them looking good. But hopefully a much better year for West Ham this year.
Harry, thanks very much indeed.
Thanks, Harry. Good day, guys.
You too, Harry. Phil in Broadstairs says, I went to a work function with my wife and won a rubber dinghy which was inflated for the raffle display. I decided not to bother collecting it the next day. And Jed says, hi Jeff and Andy, in 1977 I won a Timex watch.
Oh yeah.
In a Unigate Milk Company drawing competition. I designed a Humphrey from the milk ad. Watch out, there's a Humphrey about. Remember that?
I do remember that, brilliant. Jeff, I do, yeah.
Do keep them coming. Let's hear about what you've won during your lifetime. 81089 is the number to text. We mentioned Callum Wilson there. Coming up next, we'll turn our attention to Wilson and discuss why some West Ham fans are not too happy.
10k for Coldplay.
Hey, a very good morning to you. 7:18, Monday the 4th of August. This is talkSPORT Breakfast. I'm Jeff Stelling. Andy Townsend is with me. We're talking about what's the best thing you've won. Simon in Warrington says, things I've won in my lifetime topic. Well, I placed a bet a few years ago on Ali McCoist appearing on 476 TV channels. Just one more channel to go before I'm collecting. P.S. That boy gets some holidays too. And Michelle in Manchester said, I went to Tesco for a tin of beans and ended up winning 2 tickets to the Champions League final at Wembley to watch Dortmund against Real Madrid. Got 2 nights at the Hilton too.
Wow.
Best beans I've ever had.
Right.
Now, you could be a winner because talkSPORT has a brilliant competition for you, and today is the last day you can enter. We're giving you the chance to win 6 tickets in a private box for you and your mates on August the 22nd to see Coldplay. And, of course, there's full hospitality thrown in. That's not all. We're chucking in 10 grand in spending money. It's tax-free. It ends at 11 o'clock tonight. Here's how to enter. 18 plus, UK excluding Northern Ireland. For a chance to win, text the word WIN. Just WIN to 83338. By tonight at 11 and you'll be in the draw. Test costs £2 plus 1 standard network rate message. You must have the bill payer's permission, or you can post your name and number to Coldplay Competition, PO Box 3190, Colchester CO2 8GP, to arrive by 5 o'clock this coming Thursday, August the 7th. This is a talkSPORT Limited promotion run on talkSPORT, Talk and Virgin Radio UK stations. Full T's and C's at talksport.com. Right, time now for a little bit of this.
Stick a load of singles in there and then they fall in love.
Of course it's hard. It's supposed to be hard.
A 36-year-old, you'll have the knockers, you will.
Just because it's offering its teat, do I really have to muscle on that?
Is there anything in your personal life that could be causing you stress, sir?
I'm not a great lover.
Hello, what's your name?
Sarah Louise.
Sarah Louise, crack, you're up for it, aren't you?
I was in love at the time, that's what I was doing.
At the time?
Shaban is back with it. Hey, Shaban.
Hey.
You ever won anything? Any big or memorable competitions or prizes?
I've won dancing competitions before, Irish dancing competitions, but I remember winning a candle in a raffle once, and it was the happiest I think I've ever been, because it was a lovely Joe Malone candle, and they're pricey. I remember winning it, and I've been like, what a day to be alive.
Barry from St Helens says that he once won an argument with a wife back in 2005.
No,
well done, Barry.
No, you didn't, Barry. You just let her have it. Right, let's match some players with some clubs, shall we? In the good old world of Tinder, if you're on the apps, fair play to you. Listen, we're just thinking about dating, and when people start going out with somebody, you quite quickly learn what icks you out. Do you know what the ick is?
Yeah.
Go on then.
Yeah, something you don't like or something that...
What gives you the ick?
I don't think I'm an easygoing sort of person. Stop it. Sure, don't give away my secrets.
Do you think Jamie will get the ick at my Frodo Baggins foot that I'm rocking about with today? You like that?
Oh, God.
Because people can't handle feet. Like,
you can definitely see there's a little lump in the middle of that now.
There is
as well.
You've got that's
you've been bitten.
Normally you'd feel you did, but you didn't feel anything.
No, I didn't feel a thing. Yeah, I didn't feel a thing. What gives you the ick?
Was that because you were still under the influence, having been away with the girls for a few days?
I was actually unconscious and hammered. Yeah, that's why I didn't feel it. Listen, don't get the ick too easily at feet. You've got to stick by the person. We all have them, hopefully. Let's talk about some players then. One that was done over the weekend. Callum Wilson to West Ham. 33-year-old striker. He scored 88 Premier League bangers. He's ready to light up the London Stadium on a 1-year deal. This has divided some opinions. Are you swiping left or right for this one?
Which is the way for thumbs up?
Yes, sorry, left. Swipe left if you're not into it. Swipe right if you're matching that nicely.
I'm matching that one. I'm swiping right. I think Callum.
You've got a match.
Because he's been around a long time. If they can just manage him. And that's always the difficulty with someone like him. If I was just saying to Jeff, it's not that long ago he's getting 18 goals for Newcastle in a league season. So if he can get get some games under his belt early on. Stay fit, Shaban. It's a no-brainer to me.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be appearance-related, his deal, hasn't it? Because he's had so many injuries over the years. Some West Ham fans are not that keen, apparently, because Callum had a bit of a dig at West Ham, particularly when they won the Conference League. But that was all done as a bit of banter with Mikel Antonio, wasn't it, on the podcast they used to do?
He said that the over-celebrating for West Ham winning the Conference League was a bit over the top. It gave him the ick.
I tell you, as soon as he scores a couple of goals to them, all West Ham fans will be right behind him.
Very
and
true.
I think, that's quite right. It's a no-brainer.
Okay. Lovely.
Got a match.
Love is in the air. What about Rodrigo to Tottenham Hotspur? 24 years old, Brazilian flair and Real Madrid pedigree, ready to spice up Spurs' attack with goals and samba vibes. Who needs Son when you've got me?
Do you know, this guy, right? Look, he's obviously, you're not playing for Real Madrid the amount of times he has if you haven't got plenty about you. I've yet to see what all the fuss is about with him.
Factor. 100 million, Jeff, as well, is believed to be the figure
I wouldn't
here.
be doing that one, Shaban.
Interesting.
Not for 100 million quid or anything like that. Nowhere near it.
And his salary is going to be astronomical as well. And it's not a priority for Tottenham, surely.
I mean, obviously, Son going now, they might feel that they now need another one in those wider areas, maybe up top. But I wouldn't be doing that for that sort of money. No, I wouldn't.
Okay, that is not a match. He's swiping left.
Jeff, what are you laughing
I'm
at?
swiping left as well. I've got another combination winner. Steve the cabbie is absolutely brilliant. Morning, guys. Great show as usual. In the 1970s, my dad won a top-of-the-range barbecue. Only problem was we lived on the 18th floor of a tower block.
Stinker. One more for you. Concalo Ramos to Newcastle, 24, Portuguese international and PSG sharpshooter, but ready to lead Newcastle's charge. Young, hungry, built for the Premier League, £70 million.
70 million quid. It's a lot. I mean, look, he's fallen down the pecking order at PSG ever since he's been there. Really, he's always been playing second fiddle. Now, with Ousmane Dembele being very much the main man down the middle, he's not going to get the game time. It sounds like a lot of money, Shaban, to me, that for him. It sounds like a lot. I'm thinking, if you'd have said 45, something like that, I might have gone, but at 70, no, I'm not doing that one.
Problem is, for a striker at the moment, we know how few there are about, so you are paying premium prices, aren't you? And Newcastle are going to have to, assuming Isak is going to go.
Yeah.
We don't know for sure, but assuming he does go, they have to bring somebody in. I mean, Anthony Gordon's been filling in, playing down the middle, hasn't he, while they've been away? But that can't happen during the course of a Premier League season. No. One wouldn't think. And they don't have any other real options.
No, he's a good player. Of course he is. Of course he's a very talented player. And, when he was in Portugal, he was amongst the goals. I've always thought he's a kind of good sub. And I think it's 70 million quid.
Whoa.
I think it's a bit much, I do.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I'm swiping left. I'm not having him, not at that sort of price, that's for sure.
Guys, you've been very to the point today with your transfer Tinder. Wonderful stuff.
Yeah, it's all gone a bit quiet, hasn't it, in terms of transfers? I know Paulinho's going through.
Yeah.
But there was an absolute flurry of transfers.
There was.
And now it's maybe a bit of a calm before the storm at the end of the window.
And I think if there needs a big end to happen, it might, who knows, it could be Isak or it could be something to just start that little sort of chain of events where all of a sudden we start seeing a few others drop in.
It's been a good window. Have you enjoyed it? I mean, I feel like the last couple of transfer windows was that kind of like very PSR.
I said to Crookie the other week, Shaban, how much will it, and he said, I think it'll be another record. Right. By the time we get there, it'd be a record spending. Now, listen, whether we get to that, who knows? But yeah, I think there's a lot of teams out there that are in desperate need of players. There really are.
Robin Aintree says, I won 2 tickets to see Paul McCartney at the Soccer Saturday event at the Hilton in Manchester, presented by yours truly, Jeff. I got to sit next to Cammy as well, which was a bit of a bonus.
One.
Brilliant. Hope you had a fantastic time, Rob. Thank you very much. Shaban, thank you.
Thank you, Shaban.
See you tomorrow, hopefully. If
absolutely, yeah. They can always chop it off. You'll be okay.
It'll be fine.
Coming up, we turn our attention to the ongoing Alexander Isak saga. Is there any way back at him? At Newcastle after Eddie Howe's recent comments. We'll discuss that next. 03717 223344 is the number to have your say.
Football fans all have stadiums we love, but do any of us have a pitch we love? It might sound like an odd question, but pitches can be different sizes with big consequences. Why is that? And what are the actual rules behind it? Back when association football started, pitches could be 100 metres wide and 200 metres long. That's longer than Ellen Road. Not the pitch, the stadium. Anyway, UEFA wanted a standard across Europe which became 105 metres long and 68 metres wide. But some clubs have been rebels, not intentionally but because of the stadiums. Take Highbury for example. It was 5 metres shorter and a metre narrower, meaning away sides had a challenge just to adjust. Today, Forest Pitch at the City Ground is a big one, 2 metres wider than others. But the smallest of all? Craven Cottage, just 100 metres long and 65 metres wide. There are a couple of crazy outliers in Europe too, such as Napoli's home ground, the Stadio Diego Armando Maradona, where the pitch is a whopping 110 metres long. So UEFA have their standards, so do the FA, but they give pitches in England some wiggle room. Pitches can be anywhere between 90 and 120 metres long, between 45 and 90 metres wide. Just imagine a pitch that's 120 metres long and 45 wide. Madness. So there you have it. There is a standard size and most teams do generally follow it. But as we all know, size doesn't matter, does it?
Good morning, 7:34. It's Monday, the 4th of August. This is talkSPORT Breakfast with Ron Clark. Build your own car deal online, or with a few clicks, they make buying your next car easy. I'm Jeff Stelling. Andy Townsend is with me. Emma was just saying there in the news about Troy Deeney on SAS at the moment, Celebrity SAS. Andy, would you do it?
I doubt it, Jeff. I doubt it, to be honest with you. I admire anyone who goes in for that, because it's quite hardcore, that programme, isn't it? You know, you've got to be seriously ready to go in there with those guys. And clearly, we've already seen there's a couple that kind of weren't really ready to go in there, Jeff.
They must have seen the show. What did they think? They think it was going to be a nice holiday.
Yeah, exactly. But it is quite when you're really grilled and examined like that, and I'll tell you, it can be quite tough. It can, but again, you'd like to think if you're going to go in for something like that, you know that I think any of those ones, I'm a celebrity, you don't want to come out first here.
No.
You don't want to be the first one voted out. You don't want to walk out the door because you couldn't handle it. It's the last thing you want to... If you walk out, if you say, I've had enough, I'm going, do those people get... Obviously, they're getting a few quid to go on the show. Do they get their money, Jeff?
I think it depends totally on the competition. You know, in some cases, they get the full fee, but I would guess on something like that, if you hand your armband in on the first day, I can't believe they would get the same fee as somebody who's going to go on for the whole duration.
Yeah, I agree.
Competition winners, Liam Basingstoke said, my daughter Lily Bell won a raffle at her golf club. She had the choice of a 4-ball or a £50 voucher, that sort of thing. She decided that she would get a signed photo of Marcus Rashford for her brother, who's a Manchester United fan, or so she thought. turned out to be Anthony Elanga, who'd already left and gone to Nottingham Forest.
Oh, dear.
Now, the latest episode of the 21 Minutes to Go podcast with Andy Goldstein and Jason Cundy is out now. Each week, you can join the guys as they go on absurd tangents and answer listener questions. This week, what would you do if you only had 21 minutes left to live?
Listen, everyone knows it, but you don't know where those 21 minutes lie.
Right. No.
Right, so those 21 minutes, each, you and I, and everyone listening...
No, but I'm telling you now, in this scenario, you go to pick up your groceries, right?
What have I bought?
Groceries. You bought
I don't know what I've bought, Stinks. Have I got time to eat it?
You got 2 mushrooms.
2 mushrooms.
I don't know what you're making, but you decided...
Sounds like an omelette at the minute, go on.
Eggs. Ham.
Tell me there's some onions in this thing.
Some onions.
Peppers.
Peppers.
Right, here's what I'm doing. I'm making an omelette.
With 21 minutes left, you're going to eat it?
Stinks, I hope so. Imagine I cooked it and the clock, I can't eat my own omelette.
I think if I had 21 minutes left, Jeff, I don't think I'd be that bothered about having something to eat, having a little, just knock something up.
If I had 21 minutes left, the one thing I wouldn't be doing is listening to Goldstein and Cundy. I'll tell you that for absolutely nothing. But you can check out 21 Minutes to Go. It's available wherever you get your podcasts. Right, Alexander Isak has been the story of the transfer window, having asked to leave Newcastle, prompted some angry reactions from some of the Geordie faithful. Liverpool had a bid rejected last week. Toon boss Eddie Howe admitted afterwards he's no idea what happens next.
Well, obviously, I think from my situation, I am very much removed from everything that's happening back home. So I was made aware that there was a bid yesterday. That bid was turned down all before I even heard about it. So I think there's people back in England dealing with the situation. I really don't know what's going to happen next. But from our perspective, we still support Alex in every way. And my wish is still that we see him in a Newcastle shirt again.
Yeah, but since then, of course, there have been more quotes, haven't there, Andy? With Eddie Howe coming out to say Isak must earn the right to return to training if he shows up. No player can act poorly and train with the group as normal, which suggests that he is losing patience.
Yeah, and I can understand that. Look, this is an interesting one, obviously, because of course Alexander Isak wants to play for the very best he can possibly play for. Liverpool right now are as good as anything, so I understand why he would want to go. However, I think the way he's done it, I think is wrong, and whoever's advising him, I think they've also got it very wrong, because I think if a player goes out effectively on strike, if all of a sudden he's refusing to turn up at the training ground, you got to know, Jeff, you got to know that team that are coming for you are there, and that they. And when I heard the other day that Liverpool have bid their 110 or their 120, whatever it is, and they're not going any more than that, then that's a very dangerous situation for a player like Isak to go out and basically to refuse to rock up with his teammates. If Liverpool aren't absolutely going to be there, that is a dangerous tactic.
Why would they offer, let's say, £110 million
and then
stop?
No,
they're inevitably going to say, this is our final offer, we're not coming back.
Correct.
Meaning, we'll add a few quid to this and come back.
Yeah.
Surely.
Look, yes, and of course, in all of this time, Newcastle have a chance now to get very serious about who they're going to replace him with. But it's not great. I don't think any player ever should or wants to do that, what he's done, what Isak's doing. But look, he's done it now. I don't think there's any turning back. I can't, even though Eddie says it would be great to see him back in a Newcastle black and white, I don't see it. I don't see it at all. I think when you've done that, very difficult to come back.
I feel for Eddie, because he must feel a bit helpless, and he's out of the picture a bit because they're away at the moment in Asia. He must feel that this is out of his hands almost.
When he got Elanga, he must have thought, I've got Gordon, Elanga, Isak. I've got as good a front three there as most. And then all of a sudden, you know, look, the Isak situation has transpired. But we'll see. But I can only assume, Jeff, that Liverpool, I think at he is worth more than 110, 115. Liverpool, I mentioned the other day, Liverpool paid 116 for Florian Wirtz, who's never kicked a ball in the Premier League. So Isak is always going to be worth, I think, north of 130, 135, something around that sort of figure. I'm sure eventually, plus a few add-ons, will probably get it done.
If Isak signs for Liverpool, Are they nailed on for the title?
I tell you, if they do get him, are able to do that, then you can never be 100% sure, but they are looking very, very strong to retain their title, very much.
We talk about competition winners. Andy's texted me here. Another Andy said, "Morning, Jeff and Andy. I know someone that won a holiday in Spain. His painting won a competition that was on the back of a cornflakes box. His brother had entered it in the under-15 category." And yes, Andy, I watched the repeat of Only Fools and Horses this week as well, and it was absolutely fantastic. One of the best episodes when Del Boy enters Rodney's painting for a competition and doesn't tell him till they've won the prize and got to Spain that he entered him in the under-15 category, and Rodney has to spend the entire time there as part of the groovy gang, skateboarding and going to junior discos. Oh, and it was absolutely brilliant. Okay, still to come here on Breakfast.
Superstar Breakfast preview on talkSPORT with Travis Perkins. From excavators to skips or cement mixers to pressure washers, Travis Perkins Hire has all your landscaping needs covered.
Ahead of the 25th and final day of this amazing test series between England and India, former England spinner Graham Swann will join us to tell us whether he thinks the series will finish 3-1 or 2-2. England need 35 runs, India need 4 wickets, and of course Chris Woakes has that dislocated shoulder. Manchester United legend Rio Ferdinand will be with us in the studio to preview the new Premier League season and answer the question as to whether Manchester United can get back to anywhere near their best under Ruben Amorim. We're taking your calls, by the way, United fans. What do you make of Ruben Amorim admitting that he went into games last season expecting his side to lose? 03717 223344 is the number. Give us a call. And that was our look ahead with Travis Perkins.
Superstar Breakfast preview on talkSPORT with Travis Perkins. It's easy to hire at Travis Perkins with a Travis Perkins trade account.
7:47, Monday the 4th of August. This is talkSPORT Breakfast. I'm Jeff Stelling. Andy Townsend is with me. Jim from Stafford says, at a junior football fundraising game, I won first prize, which was tickets for a box at Manchester United's game against somebody. I can't remember who now, he says. I got a huge ironic cheers I went up to collect. While on stage, I asked if I could swap it for the third prize, which was a Hoover. We needed one at the time. And I'm a big Liverpool fan. So, brilliant. Thank you very much, Jim. Headlines this morning. Manchester United, Jim won't care about this, concluded their US tour with a 2-2 draw against Everton. Decent game it was as well. Chelsea have completed a £37 million deal to sign Ajax defender Joel Hatto. Just 19 years of age, played more than 100 games though at 19. And Barry Bannon has signed a new contract at Sheffield Wednesday, despite them being in a deepening financial crisis under the ownership of Thai businessman Deshwan Shansiri, including late payments to HMRC, multiple failures to pay the wages of players and staff members, rising debts, and of course they're under a 3-window transfer embargo as well. James Silverwood of the Sheffield Wednesday Supporters Trust joined the Sunday edition yesterday and explained the current situation ahead of their scheduled first game next Sunday.
We had a meeting with the English Football League a few days ago. The minutes have recently been, I think, published or are close to be. They've certainly been agreed. The EFL concern really is to get us to fulfil our fixtures. The unfortunate reality is that Sheffield Wednesday are really close, I think, to being unable to fulfil our fixtures. There is conversations between players around whether there is a need to go on strike because of perennial late payments or wages. During the summer, it's not just been playing staff. I appreciate some of your listeners might have limited sympathy for late payments to people who are on thousands of pounds a week, but it's also been late payments or short payments, i.e. only partial payments of monthly wages to our non-playing staff as well. And that has another massive effect on our community because it's mortgage payments missed, it's food not on the table. So the crisis at Sheffield Wednesday is huge.
Yeah, not just the players you see on your TV. It's great news for them in this very dark time that Barry Bannon has agreed to stay on there. He's the club captain and obviously still an outstanding footballer as well. But very distressing times, Andy. I mean, you must have played at Hillsborough many times.
I've played against Sheffield Wednesday when they were a proper team. I mean, I remember Big Ron's Wednesday team of Hursty and Chrissy Waddle and John Sheridan and those boys. That was a fantastic team. Nigel Pearson at the back and going to Hillsborough when the team were buoyant was as tough as it was to go anywhere. Really good. So it's a great shame when you see them treading water in the way that they are right now. It's horrendous, and it must be so difficult for the fans, particularly those that have, even for new fans, but those that have been going to that club for years, and there'll be plenty of them. They'll be wondering how on earth have we arrived at this situation where we are right now. It's a great shame, because it is and always will be a big club. I sincerely hope they can get their act together and sort it.
Yeah, absolutely. And looking out as well for news of Morecambe today, because word is that this is the day that they lock the doors. Let's hope that is not the case. Now, news reaching us over the weekend that Dele Alli has been told he's no longer wanted by the Serie A club Como, and is to find a new club. Of course, his debut against Milan in March ended after just 10 minutes when he received a straight red card. Didn't get another kick for the club after that. According to some reports in Italy, he's considering retirement. He's saying that's not the case, by the way. So we thought we'd get more on the story and talk to someone who knows Dele Alli, a man who played with him many times for MK Dons. The former MK Dons captain, now development coach. Very good morning to Dean Lewington. Morning, Dean.
Hi, Dean.
Morning. How you doing, okay?
Yeah, good, thanks, mate. Hey, just before we dip into Dele and maybe Russell Martin, 0-0 at the weekend against Oldham. What did you make of that?
Yeah, it was a pretty solid start. There wasn't many chances in the game. It was a bit of a clunky performance, but there was positives in it. A lot more solid, and just waiting for the boys up top just to click. But it's a point and it's a start, and it's a season up and running.
Now, you used to play with Dele Alli, obviously. How distressing is it to see the way things are working out for him at the moment?
Yeah, it's a shame. I think everyone thought the Como was a was a good move. I think getting out the limelight of England and going away and just getting his head down and playing games, I think it seemed like it'd be the right move for him. But it's just a shame that it doesn't seem to have worked out. And for whatever reason, I think injuries is a big part of it. He just can't seem to get a run of games or get any football. And I think if you're not playing, and at his age, it causes other stuff as well. So it's just a shame that it's not quite worked out for him.
Yeah, when he first went to Spurs, Dean, and he had a couple of seasons there, didn't he? Initially, whereas post the Gerrard, Lampard, Scholes sort of era, I thought he was the midfielder that could really elevate his game to international level on a regular basis. He was amongst the goals, he was arriving in the box, and he was making the difference in big matches. He could finish with great composure. I thought, wow, this kid is going to be something very special. So a great shame to see how it's all fizzled out for him, really.
Yeah, I think those first 3 seasons at Tottenham, I think he won PFA Young Player of the Year twice, and his numbers and his stats were incredible.
Yeah.
And I mean, the documentary that came out, I don't think helped him. I think the change of manager, I think when Pochettino left, I think it really affected him, and injuries and other stuff that he had going on. But he just never seemed to be able to recapture those early years, which, as you said, I think he was probably one of the most promising players in England for a few years at that time.
Yeah, I mean, it's a crying shame the way things are working out at the moment. Somebody else that Russell Martin, he's made a few headlines this weekend after the draw against Motherwell. Just to paraphrase some of his quotes, talking about his rage. This is after the first league game he's been in charge. Talking about his players, he said, some of them have to drop their ego. When you just want to jog around and do what you want to do, there's a big problem. So when you knew him, Dean, did he speak his mind?
Absolutely, yeah. He hasn't changed. I think Russ he's a very good coach, but he's also very emotional, and yes, that's the way he works. Is a lot of some of the stuff he does is emotion and the connection that he has with his players. And so, if he feels that he's been let down in terms of them not working or not trying to stick to what he's asked them to do, he'd be very, very upset by that. So, I think it was a disappointing performance. I think he was trying to set his stall out early and sort of really lay down the laws for those players that it's my way or the highway, really. And the way he plays, you have to buy in. There's no half measures with that. You have to, you're all in or you're not. So, he really needs those players to buy into it. I think it was probably a warning shot to them that if they don't, and there will be changes.
Yeah, people kept saying, Dean, after that, he's throwing his players under a bus and all this sort of so early on in his tenure up at Rangers. Where do you stand on and how difficult is it as a coach, perhaps nowadays in modern day football, in terms of letting the players know how you really feel directly after a game?
Yeah, I think the rants and ravings has probably died out a little bit, but in terms of expectations, I think he was okay to say what he did. I think the way that Russ is, there has to be that buy-in, and he'd be disappointed with that. I don't think he's named anyone personally. I think it's just a group sort of standard that he will have for them. But I think you're at Rangers, which is now a massive football club, and I think he realises that as well. And there are expectations, and you have to be able to put up with that. And I think it was just a chance for him just to sort of lay down that law and say this is the way it has to be. And they will improve, but you need, especially with Rush, you need that buy-in with the players. They have to understand how it works, otherwise 50% doesn't allow that style to work. So it's all in.
Yeah, I mean, he's obviously looking for a response, isn't he? And if he doesn't get a response from some of them, well, he'll have learnt something about them.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think in training, you can get away with stuff and you can do style when the pressure's on and he's asking you to come and look for the ball when you're under pressure and people don't do it. It's a sign of your character and whether you're able to do it. And I'm sure he'd learned a lot more in that game than he probably has done in the previous sort of 2 months that he's had them. So it'll be a big eye-opener for him. And, they've been warned and now they've got a chance to rectify it, I suppose.
Dean, how are you coping without playing?
It's difficult. It's worse than I felt. Saturday was a real first time. I really did miss it. Saturday was, you're watching it and you miss those feelings that you get didn't miss pre-season and the running, but the games I definitely do. Yeah.
How many games was it, mate? A lot.
A lot, yeah, 900 and something. I don't actually know.
That's incredible, Dean. Honestly, it's astonishing. It really is. Those numbers are incredible, and you must be very proud of that, I'm sure.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. It was a lot of good memories, and just loved playing the football. So I was very lucky. Yeah.
Great. Well, look, you're still involved in the game. You're still involved with MK Dons as well. So, look, I hope you have a great season, Dean.
Cheers. Thank you.
Best of luck, mate.
Cheers. Thanks. Bye.
Dean Lewington, yeah. I mean, amazing career. I mean, an amazing career.
Yeah, fantastic. My cousin Mark, who'll be listening, is a big MK Dons fan, and he saw that we had Dean on the show yesterday, and he said, "Oh, I'm really looking forward to hearing him because, again, as you say, just I think, and again, you can tell by his manner, his demeanour. He's an understated boy. Just got about his work, didn't he? For as many seasons as he did, and." Fabulous effort, and again, and I like the fact that someone like that still connected with the club that he loves, and is gradually now filtering his way through the ranks. Good luck to Dean.
Yeah, brilliant. Darren in Glasgow says, on Winning Things, I won tickets on Shaban's old radio station, Radio Clyde, to see one of my heroes, Mike Tyson, at an event in Glasgow. I got to have a quick minute's chat and a photo with him. It was one of the best nights of my life.
Like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Those are the things that you want to win, things that you can't buy.
Exactly.
Things that you can't buy. It is...
I wouldn't mind the jackpot, Jeff, to be fair. I'd settle for that as well.
What, the jackpot or meeting Mike Tyson? Which would you take, Andy? Come on, be honest. It's a minute away from 8 o'clock. Coming up, we turn our attention to Manchester United and ask the question, are the fans behind Ruben Amorim going into the new season? I think so. That's next.
Corinthian Casuals are a team in the Combined Counties League Premier Division South. Despite that, they're one of the most important clubs in world football. Here's why. The club was formed in 1939 as the result of a merger between Corinthians FC and Casuals FC. Now, Corinthians FC were founded in the late 1800s when the FA's top brass were sick of getting pumped by Scotland every time they played them. As a result, a man called Nicholas Lane Jackson set up an amateur side which would bring in the best players who could all play for the national side. And it worked. It wasn't long before England were dominating the international fixtures they played, and it was largely down to Corinthians. In fact, in 1894 and 1895, they played consecutive games where Corinthians provided the entire England 11. But the thing is, the players refused to play professional football. They didn't believe in it. They wanted to spread the values of sportsmanship, competition, and played for the love of the game. It also helped that most of the players were Oxbridge graduates who didn't need the money. But instead of entering the league and cup competitions, they played exhibition football and toured the world, bringing the beautiful game with them. And it was this which spread the game throughout the world and made it so popular. Most famously, in 1910, they travelled to Brazil. And the locals in Sao Paulo were so impressed, they started their own team under the same name. Yes, the same Corinthians who won the FIFA Club World Cup in 2021, one of the biggest football teams in Brazil. Now, they were global superstars, and despite not being professional, Corinthians drew in the crowds. Everybody wanted to play them, everybody wanted to watch them. So much so, they regularly played the winners of the FA Cup in what eventually became the Community Shield, winning most of the time. They actually inflicted Manchester United's worst defeat, 11-3, a record which still stands to this day. Now, fast forward to today, Corinthian Casuals still don't pay their staff or players. The ethos of sportsmanship is still at the heart of everything that they do. And even though they're a side in the lower leagues, if you make the trip to King George's Field in Tolworth just off the A3, you'll most likely bump into Brazilian Corinthians fans who often make the pilgrimage across the globe just to watch their founding team play.
Good morning, it's 8:05. It is Monday the 4th of August. Hope you're having a great morning so far. This is talkSPORT Breakfast with Arnold Clark. Get the UK's best used car deals guaranteed. I'm Jeff Stelling. Andy Townsend is with us this morning right through until 10 o'clock on the way between now and then. Six-time Premier League winner with Manchester United, Rio Ferdinand, will be with us in the studio. He'll be reacting to Manchester United's game last night, their start to the season, well, the pre-season as it is at the moment, and to Ruben Amorim's comments that have made the back pages. Manchester United fans love to hear from you too. Of course, Amorim saying that last season he would go to games expecting his side to lose, which is interesting of him to admit it. I'm sure he's not the only manager, by the way, to think that. You know, there must be plenty of managers who've gone to games thinking
when they're in a rut,
we might take a bit of a tonking today.
Yeah, when they're in a rut and they're in a hole and they're really struggling and suffering confidence-wise. Yeah, and at United, everything is magnified, and any problems you have, you know, it's so blatant, always so obvious to the watching world. Very difficult if you're in that hot seat to sort it out and turn it round.
03717 223344. If you're a Manchester United fan, that's the number to ring. Give us a call. Trevor is a United fan. He's done exactly that. Morning, Trevor.
Morning, Trev.
Morning, guys. How you doing?
Yeah, very good, mate. Very good. So are you encouraged by what you've seen of Amorim's team so far this pre-season?
Do you know what? I am. 100% I am. And it's looking good. I mean, well, it's got to look good. Last season was not good, as we all know. But from the games that I've watched, and especially last night, and Bumo and Cunha, the link-up play is phenomenal. Looks really good with Bruno as well, Ahmed. Going forward, I cannot see us having an issue this season going forward. At the back, obviously, we do have youngsters and we do have the experience and the old. And if we could squeeze in another sort of decent central defender, I think, not top 4, let's be realistic, but we'll be in the top 6, hopefully. Going forward, I think we're much better. And I think Ruben's got a big future. It's now the cogs are now clicking his way.
Would you like to also see, Trev, maybe another 9? There's been talk about Šeško and people like this or whatever coming to Old Trafford. Would you like to see another 100%. One up there?
Yeah, it would be nice. It would be nice. I mean, there's 2. I mean, even Watkins would, proven. See, what Amorim's gone for is the experience of the Premier League so far, which is a big, big thing.
It is. You're right.
You can bring in a £300 million striker from Uzbekistan who no one knows, but he's not played in the Premier League. He might have scored 4,000 goals for them, but do you know what I mean? He's not played with that fast-paced football, and experience is key. And I think Ruben's now getting his way.
Yeah, and maybe a goalkeeper might be somewhere on the list of priorities.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, Buendia, our so-called backup goalkeeper, with some confidence behind him, he could be exceptional. I do believe that, and I think he's got that. But, talk about Donnarumma and stuff, I wouldn't be too sure about that. I mean, he can shop, but give Buendia a chance, and I think he'll prove people wrong.
Trust me, Trevor, Donnarumma's not coming to Old Trafford. He's on £11 million a year at the moment at PSG.
Oh, yeah, no, we don't want him.
Trevor, appreciate the call. Thank you very much.
No worries. Cheers, guys.
Just before we move on, Ian and Scarlett in Southport say, could we give a shout-out to an amazing day at Southport Football Club? A charity match for the families of last year's tragic event in Southport. It was a day of healing and a great day organised by the club and the local roundtable with over 3,000 people.
Oh, that's lovely.
So that is brilliant. Aldo was there, by the way. John
was
Aldridge.
he, John?
Yeah, was one of those. Joe Royal as well. So
great.
Glad it was such a successful day. Okay, it's time to look back on the Lions tour in partnership with Tenor Men.
Qatar Airways Lions Tour Roundup on talkSPORT with coverage sponsored by Tenor Men. Keep control.
No whitewash down under then. Australia, the Wallabies dominating from start to finish in a 22-12 points win over the Lions. Despite failing to complete that series whitewash, though, fly half Finn Russell told talkSPORT he's proud of their achievements.
I think loads of pride. I think especially the way we won it last week shows the character in this group, and even at the end there, we pulled one other try back, but too little too late obviously. But I think it's always amazing pulling on the red jersey for the Lions, and for me the first time in a series, so it's extra special. So we came here with the series was the goal, so we managed to get that, and like I said, just a shame it's not the fairy tale ending with the clean sweep.
Let's get the thoughts from an Australian perspective from the Wallabies legend, Matt Gitto. Morning, Matt.
Morning, Matt.
Morning, Matt.
Yeah, good morning. Sorry, you're going to have to bear with me here. I was out with Finn Russell last night.
Brilliant. Well, you should have been celebrating, mate, because everybody, in this neck of the woods had written off the Australians and obviously written them off too soon.
Yeah, I thought it was a dominant performance, from start to finish. I think the wet weather I thought was going to suit the Lions more, but as the game was panning out, I thought it really suited the way we were playing with our big bodies, big forwards, and our kicking game. So, good win.
And really, Matt, in that second test, when you had that real healthy lead in the second half, and that somehow got away from the Wallabies, this could have been very, very different, very close to being a roaring success for the Aussies.
I know. There's a couple of pivotal moments in that second test where it could have gone either way. But I just feel like we were probably caught off guard a little bit with that first test, not knowing really what to expect with the intensity and everything else that the Lions threw at us. Sorry, I'm trying really hard here.
Sounds like it was a good night, to be honest, Matt.
Yeah.
It was a good night for a tough morning.
Brilliant. Look, I mean, essentially, the entire series came down to that last play in the second test.
Yeah, it did. But, I mean, there while that was magnified, there are other areas in that game that we could have really put that game to bed, and we didn't. So some good learnings for those young guys, but ultimately the Lions were too good and they deserved the series.
Was it a mistake from a Lions perspective, do you think, that Andy Farrell chose not to rotate for that final game?
Well, hindsight's a beautiful thing. I think for him, he wanted the clean sweep. So you reward the players that have been playing well, and they would have wanted to suit up for the last test as well. So whether a couple of them look tired, I don't know. But if he did pick and rotate it a bit, from an Australian point of view, I could maybe see how it could have been perceived as arrogance. You know, you're just going to give other people a go. So I think in my mind, he made the right choice. And it was great because we ended up winning.
Yeah. What sort of conditions Finn Russell in this morning then, Matt?
Well, he was supposed to come on our podcast and he didn't turn up. So.
Very sensible decision, I think, to be honest.
Yeah, I think so as well.
Fantastic. Look, Matt, thanks for your company, mate. We'll let you go. Get a couple of hours, Kip.
Well done, Matt. Thanks, pal.
Cheers. Thanks a lot.
Brilliant, Matt Gitto. Then can you imagine at the end of a Lions tour, it must be carnage.
Jeff, I mean, look, you know, listen, they're huge, giant guys, aren't they? So I can imagine they can tuck away perhaps a little bit more than the rest of us. And I wouldn't want to get in the middle of a session with some of them, I'll tell you. Yeah. Goodness me.
Our thanks to Matt Gitto there. That was all thanks to Tenor Men. By the way, another competition winner. Listen to this. Jazza in Clumpton. You cheeky sons. He said, I entered a raffle for my son's preschool. Only 50p. I won a prize. However, it was 2 tickets to the Jeff Stelling show. I decided to ask if I could swap them for a bottle of wine.
Cheeky boy, Jazza.
He does go on to say, love you, Jeff. Thank you very much indeed, Jazza. It was probably the right decision, in truth. Coming up, we build up to a huge final tonight that Andy will be glued to. Who's going to win Love Island? We'll tell you who we think it should be next.
Qatar Airways Lions Tour Roundup on talkSPORT with coverage sponsored by Tenor Men. Keep control.
morning to you. 8:18. It is Monday, the 4th of August. This is talkSPORT Breakfast. I'd love to tell you what it was like outside so we get a clue about the weather for the final day of the Test match, but we're down here on the second floor.
We're in the bunker.
We're in the bunker. We can't see what it is outside because the Oval is not a million miles away.
It's not from
where
here,
we
is
are.
it? No.
I'm Jeff Stelling. As we gather, Andy Townsend is with us right through until 10 o'clock. Forget the Premier League or the EFL returning. All eyes are on the biggest final of the year. I'm obsessed by Love Island, honestly.
You should have grabbed me and you should have pulled me straight away, but you didn't.
I have enough chats. I'll chat to you all day long.
I'm not asking you to donate me a kidney. I'm just asking for you to be clear about how you feel.
You can go and do one. We don't care about you.
First day in, she's trying to make a show. You desperate beg.
Oh,
Mum, I've blown the relationships and titles.
My goodness.
I can see it, the relationships and titles.
Nothing better than a beer and Love Island. And I meant that only in the sense that I watch it as a social experiment. I view it scientifically.
It should be a guilty pleasure TV.
Yeah, it is.
Hey, look, I'm worried about you because I remember you also told me maths was very much up on your TV selections.
Maths. Australia, specifically. You know, for some reason, there's just the couples have got a bit more about them in Maths Australia. But look, Love Island. Hey, last night, I'm told. I mean, I barely saw any of it. Meghan and DeJean. Were voted as the least compatible couple. They were voted off. Now DeJean, I think, he's gifting Noel Williams' son.
Okay.
He played a bit of a game right from the start, I think. And he's been found out, you know, because you're under the microscope all the time, and people could see right throughout that Meghan was giving a lot more to this relationship than he was, and so they were voted out. So we're left with 4 couples now, one of whom is Harry,
who's a bit of a player in more ways than one. He's a footballer as well, Jeff.
He is. He's a part-time footballer, but you are right. I think he's a bit of a lad, shall we say that? And I'm not sure who in the Villa that he hasn't coupled up with during the course of it. And he's with Shakira, good Burnley girl, at the moment.
Do any of these couples, when they come out, are they actually sort of together for the long haul?
Well, I think Molly May Hague is the obvious one with Tommy Fury, but apart from that, I don't know. Tonight, well, I'll tell you what, in a moment or two, I think we're going to hear from Connor. I'm going to ask Dave Stevens what odds against the winners being together in a year's time.
Good shout.
Pretty long odds, I would imagine. I'm going to go for Tony, who's an American girl, and Cash.
Right.
Cash is king for me. So Tony and Cash, he's come over as a really nice guy. Tony, at the start of the series, I thought arrogant, brash, difficult, awkward, but actually she's really pretty funny and entertaining. So I think it's wide open. You going to be watching?
Well, now you've built it up, Jeff, to a level there. I've got to tell you that I'm intrigued. I might watch it for 5 minutes, but it wouldn't be something I would usually watch. In fact, I've never ever watched a series of them. I've only ever seen snippets of it here and there. But I might give tonight. I mean, I want to watch Troy on the Celebrity Who Dares, Celebrity SAS. But I might give this one 5 minutes and see how. And if I'm hooked at the start, I might stick with it. But I doubt it.
I mean, goodness knows how those couples are feeling today, because this is it. This is the big one. This is the final. This is what they've been building towards right throughout the series. The nerves will be absolutely jangling right now.
They will.
Who's going to come out on top? My view, Tony and Cash. Your view, you don't care one jot.
Well, I wouldn't underestimate Harry. I tell you, we know what Harry's capable of, and if he can find one of his better performances, then he just might end up winning.
Okay. Look, let's get some odds, shall we, including those for Love Island with Coral and Dave Stevens.
The Coral Daily Download on talkSPORT with Coral. We're here for the fans this season. 18 plus, gambleaware.org.
Steve-O, good morning to you.
Jeff, Andy, good morning. Jeff, I've known you for a long, long time. I hold you in the highest esteem as a great broadcaster. You have shot down in my estimation. Your knowledge of Love Island is... I mean, you must have been glued to every single second of this series.
So let's get this straight, Steve-O. Coral are not taking any bets, any money on Love Island at all. You refuse to, as a matter of principle.
I didn't say that, of course. And we have some big Love Island fans at headquarters. I am just not one of them. But listening to you, there could be a bit of value. I don't care what the bet is. Because our favourites, odds-on favourites, are Shakira and Harry. But you reckon, and Tony and Cash, I'm assuming that's Antonia and Cash.
Yes, it is, yeah.
They are 6-4. Second favourites, Yasmin and Jamie are 9-2. And then Angel and Ty, 20-1 outsiders. So is this the value? Cash and Tony, 6-4. I mean, look, if we're going to have to tune in, Andy, we might as well have an interest.
Very true, Steve. Very true. Yeah. No, I'm going to stick with Harry. I mean, I've never seen. I don't even know what he looks like, and certainly Shakira, I've never clapped eyes on. But you know what? I like the sound of Harry, and there's something about him. I think he just might actually come good in the end.
Chris in Tamworth says, "Morning, lads. Great show. I was going to watch Love Island for the first time this year, and then I realised I've still got a box of pins left."
Yeah.
I get the feeling that you're not a big fan, Chris. Okay, let's get on to some sports, shall we? The test match, the fifth test, has somehow gone into a final day, Steve-O. England need 35 runs. India need 4 wickets, maybe 3, depending on Chris Wokes. How do you bet?
Well, you'd think Chris Wokes... Well, hopefully Chris Wokes won't have to be patched up and sent out to bat. But it's a fitting end, Jeff, to what has been a magnificent series of Test cricket, isn't it? Those that have called the demise of Test cricket, well, this series has proved that there is so much life in this version of the sport. It's been brilliant. The fact it's gone down to the final day is a fitting conclusion. I don't know how much the weather forecast could interfere. The showers around. On paper, you think, well, England should get this done. And they are 4-1 on. So, we think they're almost there. But clearly, I say, there's still an element of jeopardy. India are 100-30. 25-1 the draw. Looks unlikely, as I say, unless the weather forecast turned out really, really bad. But, it's going to be a tense, dramatic final morning there. And, as I say, a fitting conclusion to what has been a wonderful advert for Test cricket.
Steve-O, listen, if you want to have a bet on the Premier League, if you fancy Liverpool... Now would be a good time maybe to have a little dabble before they get Isak and their price is even shorter.
It's already shortening, Andy, all the time. I know we'd have spoken, a week ago, Liverpool were 9-4 favourites. They're now 7-4. They appear to have had a really good transfer window. Obviously, horrible events away from the pitch that, is clearly going to have an effect. But the transfer activity has been excellent. They're 7-4. Arsenal 12-5, Manchester City 3-1. So we're saying it's a 3-horse race. Do you share that view, Andy?
Yes, I do actually. Fundamentally, I think it will be a 3-horse race, but I think it's fascinating. There's a lot of money being spent by certainly Chelsea. Have, 8 or 9 now? I think new faces that have come in at the bridge, so they'll want to be ultra competitive. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to the start of the season, but I do think, Steve-O, that it will be amongst those 3. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the money that's been spent, once again, it's just, it's staggering, isn't it? Yeah. Financial fair play, I don't know if that actually means anything in the real world. Championship kicks off, of course, this weekend as well, Jeff. 2 of the relegated teams are at the head of the betting to bounce straight back. Ipswich 11-4, Southampton 5-1, Birmingham, the club we're associated with, 6-1, Sheffield United 8-1, 10-1 Coventry. I could go on. That is the Championship. It is such a brutally tough league to get out of, but never fails to deliver on the excitement. And Andy, I know you love your Formula One.
Yeah.
I mean, we've got a championship race between the 2 McLaren drivers.
Oh, that is shaping up to be a really good finish to the season. It is. We were talking about Lewis Hamilton earlier, Steve-O, as well. I mean, what sort of price is Lewis to win a race this season? Is there anything like that out there?
Oh, that's a very good question. I mean, it isn't. It's something we'll get, but the switch to Ferrari has been a bit of a damn squib so far, isn't it? But these 2 McLaren drivers, presumably, if they can be left alone to race against each other, which it seems that will be the case. Lando obviously won yesterday, only 9 points the gap. Piastri remains favourite, 7-4 on. Lando Norris 6-5. Bit of a mid-season break now, but again, hopefully those two will be able to go at it and give us a great second half to the season.
Brilliant, Steve-O. Thank you very much indeed.
Enjoy tonight, Jeff.
I won't be watching, mate. I won't be watching. That was a look at the latest odds, all thanks to Coral 18+, gambleaware.org. When he's talking about the Championship, Ipswich, I can see that. Southampton, I'm not so sure about. We'll still wish him well. But Ramsdale's gone.
Yes.
So they're short of a keeper.
Yeah.
Jan Bednarek's gone. Tyler Dibbling will go.
Yeah. Must be some of them Championship managers, Jeff, with their better players sitting there at the moment with everything crossed, thinking, get this window done and dusted so I can get on with what I've got. Because again, whilst all the Premier League teams are looking here, there and everywhere, they will also try and pinch the best out of the Championship that they possibly can. And the likes of Tyler Dibbling, one or two of those, very much in that category.
Yeah. Coming up, we turn our attention to the cricket. How on earth did it not finish last night? Stuart Broad called it a lazy decision. So what does his former teammate Graham Swann think? We'll find out next.
The Coral Daily Download on talkSPORT with Coral. We're here for the fans this season. 18+, gambleaware.org.
Football fans all have stadiums we love, but do any of us have a pitch we love? It might sound like an odd question, but pitches can be different sizes with big consequences. Why is that? And what are the actual rules behind it? Back when association football started, pitches could be 100 metres wide and 200 metres long. That's longer than Ellen Road. Not the pitch, the stadium. Anyway, UEFA wanted a standard across Europe, which became 105 metres long and 68 metres wide. But some clubs had been rebels, not intentionally, but because of the stadiums. Take Highbury, for example. It was 5 metres shorter and a metre narrower, meaning away sides had a challenge just to adjust. Today, Forest Pitch at the City Ground is a big one, 2 metres wider than others. But the smallest of all? Craven Cottage, just 100 metres long and 65 metres wide. There are a couple of crazy outliers in Europe too, such as Napoli's home ground, the Stadio Diego Armando Maradona, where the pitch is a whopping 110 metres long. So UEFA have their standards, so do the FA, but they give pitches in England some wiggle room. Pitches can be anywhere between 90 and 120 metres long, between 45 and 90 metres wide. Just imagine a pitch that's 120 metres long and 45 wide. Madness. So there you have it. There is a standard size and most teams do generally follow it. But as we all know, size doesn't matter. Does it?
Good morning, 8:34. This is talkSPORT Breakfast with the Arnold Clark app. Buy a car and opt into Arnold Clark Rewards to enjoy access to great giveaways and everyday perks. I'm Jeff Stelling. Andy Townsend is with me through until 10. We've been asking all morning, what's your best ever competition prize? And that's because our competition tonight is to win 10 grand and a VIP night out at Coldplay at Wembley Stadium. But it ends this evening. So we're giving you the chance to win 6 tickets and a private box for you and your mates on August the 22nd. It includes full hospitality and we're chucking in that 10 grand spending money tax free. But the competition ends at 11 p.m. this evening. So here's how to enter. 18 plus UK excluding Northern Ireland. For a chance to win, text the word WIN to 83338 by this evening at 11 p.m. and you're in the draw. Text costs £2 plus one standard network rate message. You must have the bill payer's permission. Or you can post your name and number to Coldplay Competition, PO Box 3190, Colchester CO2 8GP, to arrive by 5 p.m. on Thursday, August the 7th. This is a talkSPORT Limited promotion run on talkSPORT, Talk and Virgin Radio UK stations. Full T's and C's at talksport.com. Now, this test series between England and India will surely go down as one of the greatest ever. We're not done yet. We're moving into the 25th and final day of the series, and we still don't know who's going to come out on top. England need 35 more runs to seal the series 3-1. India, on the other hand, need 4 wickets to rescue a 2-2 draw, and bear in mind one of those 4 is Chris Woakes, who's got his shoulder in a sling at the moment. Joe Root scored what was an emotional 100 yesterday in a game where cricket remembered his mentor and batting coach Graham Thorpe. He celebrated his century by popping on a Graham Thorpe headband. It really was an emotional moment. It was a great tribute, I thought, from Joe Root.
Yeah, lovely.
Let's get more on what's an epic test match and cross over to the legendary former England spinner, Graham Swann. Morning, Swanny.
Morning, boys. How are we doing?
Yeah, we're doing okay, but look, this should be all over by now, shouldn't it? You know, Stuart Broad said last night on the way to the tube at 6:20, everyone was wearing sunglasses, called it a lazy decision to call the game off so soon. I mean, what do you make of it? How would you explain it?
Well, I played with Stuart Broad for years, and I can tell you he would have been the first to have his trainers on, sat in the car driving home. So don't listen to former players who end up in the media. We all moan about everything. Look, cricket is cricket, and everyone loves it because the rules just don't make sense half the time. They've got to have a set of rules that are uniform that you can use anywhere in the world. Yes, the sun did come out at 6:30, but, you know, by that stage, most people have gone home anyway, and it's just one of those things. The game could have finished, but it set us up for a brilliant morning today. Yeah. So I can't wait. I've not slept that well. You know, I've been up I was so nervous by the end of play yesterday. We were cruising that game until Harry Brook got out, and then all of a sudden it's, oh my God, India are back in this. So it's going to be a great morning.
And Chris Wokes, Graham, is going to expect a few lively ones come flying at him, I should imagine, early on.
Yeah, he will. You know, Chris Wokes is genuinely one of the nicest human beings in the world as well. So anyone who picks on him this morning can come and see me in the car park afterwards. I don't think I'd be very tasty and handy, to be honest. But yeah, he's going to get a bit. One of the great things about this series has been, you know, the two teams, there is a bit of niggle. There are one or two spiky characters on both teams. But that adds to it. That adds to the entertainment factor. We live in a very watered down, boring time, don't we? Let's face it, sports-wise. And when you've got footballers diving on the floor and rolling round, and you know, it's pathetic. But cricketers are hard men, you know, hard men playing hard game.
So look, you know, it was, in some respects, disappointing it didn't finish last night, but it didn't. So that's that. Who does that break? Who does the fact that the game didn't finish last night, does it favour? Indians bowlers, they'll be rested this morning, but they had all the momentum last night.
Yeah, they were like a steam train by the end. I think it was a very good thing for England that game finished. It was dark, the floodlights were on, it was wet, the ball was moving all over the place. The new batsmen coming in after Root and Brook were finding it almost impossible to lay bat on it. It wasn't looking good. It was ominous for England last night. Having slept on it overnight, yes, the bowlers will be fresh, but it always takes a little bit of time to get into play in the morning. Unless they get a wicket within the first 2 or 3 overs, you'd think that England should be able to see this one out. However, an early wicket, and this is a nipper, this is a real, you know, there'll be a lot of nervous people in the dressing room. And like you say, Wokesy only been able to bat with one hand, makes it, we're almost 7 down already.
Yeah, how aggressive will they be with the way that they field the Indian team this morning, Graham? What do you think?
Well, they have to be, really. They have to be all out. They have to go out there. You know, it's the last morning of the Test series, and they've lost the series unless they go out there and draw it somehow. So there's a lot of pride going. I know that the Indian team, who are, let's face it, one of the world's best at the moment, and I get a lot of grief. I got a lot of grief at the start of this series saying that England were favourites. And they should use it as a good warm-up for the Ashes. I stand by that. England versus Australia will always be bigger to an English player than an India series, but this is very, very close to it now. This has been one of the best series in recent memory. It's been great.
Oh, it's been gripping. I mean, you just can't take your eyes away from it. I thought yesterday, obviously, Joe Root, that was a lovely tribute to Graham Thorpe. But Harry Brook, the way he plays cricket, and not just his batting, by the way, I just love the fact he plays the game with a smile on his face at all times.
He does, yeah. I mean, he plays like, you know, when you're a kid growing up and every coach says, you can't do this, you can't do that. It's like he never listened to any coach. He says, why can't I do this? Why can't I be different? Why can't I play these shots, be ultra aggressive? And, you know, he turned the game yesterday. I mean, Joe Root is always going to be solid at one end, be the anchor. But we need a player. When you're chasing a big total like 380 odd, you need someone to take the ball by the horns and be aggressive. Getting 100 off 90 odd balls, and in the manner that he did it. It's just a shame he got out. I think his bat went further than the ball. Nearly wiped out one of the Indian fielders.
And Graham, who would you have as the kind of player of the series from both teams? If you could single one out, who do you think has been the outstanding player?
Well, you can't look past Joe Root. Obviously, he's just brilliant. He's monotonous, but I would say the character, the pantomime villain for me, and who's been brilliant, is Siraj. I love the way he's
Jeff
played.
Just said that, to be fair.
You know, I mean, we love it, don't we? We love, like Mitchell Johnson when he played for the Aussies. Everyone got stuck into him. Jurgen Klinsmann for the German football team. Everyone hates like the opposition best player, and Siraj has just been—he's played up to the crowd. He's very sort of, you know, very energetic. He's always got a face on. I've really enjoyed him. And to top it all off, he's a really good bowler as well.
He has been a pantomime villain, and I absolutely love him. And I love the fact that he gives 100% absolutely all the time. I mean, it's interesting. There's been so much backchat between the two sides during the course of the series, Swanee. But how do they get on, generally speaking? When they go off the pitch, do they all get on together?
Well, I don't really know these days. You know, there was always at the end of a series. Traditionally, you go into the opposition's changing room. That doesn't happen with every team. It always happened with Australia and with the Kiwis. Well, the Kiwis virtually in the England changing room every day because we've got so many of the coaching staff. But it was always the way that you'd have a drink with the opposition, but not so much. I mean, a lot of the Indian lads don't drink anyway and don't really socialise. There's the language barrier for some people, so I'm not too sure whether all this is, you know, just for the cameras or there is a little bit of, you know, actual niggle going on. But I think it's best left that way, to be honest.
Yeah.
If we don't know, then it's better, really, isn't it?
Yeah. The crowds, by the way, as well. The crowds have been great as well.
Yeah.
Haven't they? You know, because obviously massive Indian contingent too. So the atmospheres have just been fab. Honestly, Swanee, one of the best Test series, you know, I mean, I'm 70. It's one of the best Test series I can ever remember. It's been brilliant.
Absolutely. You know, and as a player as well, you want to play in these series. You want to play in series that people remember. And you look back, like 1981, you had the Ashes that was Ian Botham's. 2005, the Ashes that sort of brought it all back to life. I'm going to say 2010 in Australia just because I was playing in that one. But this one is well up there. It's been a superb series. And whichever way it goes today, it will be remembered as a brilliant series. And the highlights packages are almost as long as the games themselves.
And what's your gut feeling, Graham? You think that England will get it done?
Yes.
Yeah.
I've got to say that. I mean, I say that, however, I woke up an hour earlier than I normally do thinking about cricket. That I've not done for years, by the way. I'm watching the highlights of the women's golf from yesterday now just to take my mind off the cricket. So I'm nervous, but I think England will do it.
Brilliant. Swanee, let's hope you're right. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, pal.
Thanks, boys.
And George, one of our producers, has just sent me a little photograph of the conditions outside, and it looks like there's a little bit of blue sky around, a little bit of cloud as well, but it looks okay.
Great.
Looks okay. Has been a wonderful series. Let's hope for a dramatic conclusion as well. All right, let's take a look ahead to the next hour of the show with Benchmarks.
Superstar Breakfast preview on talkSPORT with Benchmarks Kitchens and Joinery. Get trade prices on kitchens to suit all styles and budgets at Benchmarks.
Manchester United legend Rio Ferdinand will join us in the studio to look ahead to the new season. That's just after 9, discussing whether Ruben Amorim can turn Manchester United around. Texting your questions to Rio on 81089. I think they've got a squeak of that 4th place. It might sound daft, but a lot of clubs have got issues. Anyway, we'll ask Rio what he thinks when he comes in around 15 minutes' time. But up next, Daniel Levy's spoken to the media in a rare interview. We'll bring you the headlines from that next. And that was our breakfast preview with Benchmarks.
Superstar Breakfast preview on talkSPORT with Benchmarks Kitchens and Joinery. All our Benchmarks kitchen doors come with a 5-year guarantee. Terms and conditions apply.
Good morning, 8:49. It is Monday, the 4th of August. This is talkSPORT Breakfast. I'm Jeff Stelling. Andy Townsend is with me. Comments from the Spurs chairman, Dele Alli, have just broken online. He's been speaking to the Overlap podcast and explaining the reasoning behind sacking Ange Postecoglou. He said, Ange just won us a trophy, a European trophy, highly significant, and he is always going to be in our history. However, we couldn't lose sight of the fact we finished 17th in the league, we lost 22 Premier League games, and it's impossible for Tottenham to be in that position. So we had to take some of the emotion out of it and give some data points as to why we decided to do what we did. And despite dealing with a lot of criticism during his time at Spurs, Daniel Levy says, I'll get the credit I deserve after I've left Tottenham. What do you think about that last remark then, Andy?
I'll get the credit I deserve after I've left. Look, what Daniel Levy has done, he's given, the best years of his life. He's dedicated to that club. Of that, there is no doubt. I find it quite strange that he's coming out now, because he's never put his head above the parapet with the press.
Hasn't.
Has he, Jeff? He's never come out and said anything, and yet all of a sudden he's wanting to establish a few facts and a few points right now. Why that would be? Perhaps he is coming to the end of his chapter at that club. Look, anyone who goes to watch a game at Spurs nowadays, you can't deny the fact that it's apart from getting out of the place after a game, but you can't deny when you're there watching it, it's a fabulous facility.
Of course,
and it's a real pleasure, I should imagine, and a privilege to play for that club now. Daniel Levy, I don't think he'll ever be revered or anything like that. And let's be honest, how many chairmen are revered when they come out of a club? Most of them are going out the back door rather than walking out the front door with their chest out. Most of them are sneaking out the door when their time's up at a football club. That's just the way the business works. But I think for him to be asking that sort of question, perhaps people will realise the job I've done when I'm gone. I'm not so sure, Daniel. I just don't think it works like that in football with chairman.
No, I agree, and I think a lot of Spurs fans, you use the word business there, a lot of Spurs fans will say he treats it more of it's a business than a football club. No, I'm not saying that's
he
that's
has to,
wrong.
doesn't he?
Yeah,
let's be honest, he has to.
Yeah,
he has to. He's the one that's charged with spending the money. And whilst I think everyone would like to have a go at that, I should imagine. It has its difficulties, but I've not heard that many of the former Tottenham coaches, Jeff, either coming out and speak glowingly of Daniel.
But if you want to be loved, don't become a football club owner or chairman.
Yeah.
Simple as that. Now the transfer window is in full flow, which means it must be time for a bit of this.
Crookie's Roundup, right here every day. Crookie's Roundup, which players are on their way. If an agent's got a story.
Hello, Alex Crook. What you got for me?
Crookie gets it first.
Yeehaw, cowboy! There's a snake in my boot.
He gets all the gossip, from the best players to the worst. Of course, it's time for Crookie's Roundup. He's the very best. He's the rootinest, tootinest journo in the Wild Wild West. Crookie's Roundup.
Yeah, I know Buzz from my Bournemouth days, actually.
Yeah, time to round up all the movers and shakers with talkSPORT's chief football correspondent, Alex Crook. Morning, Crookie.
Crookie, morning.
Good morning.
Look, Crookie, we were talking there about Tottenham and Daniel Levy, and earlier we talked about Heung-min Son. So, Son leaving Spurs, where is he off to?
Yeah, the end of an era in many ways, and as Son himself has said, probably the perfect way to bow out. 10 years at one club doesn't happen too often, does it, in the modern era? And obviously he went out lifting that Europa League title in Bilbao that you've just been talking about there, and Daniel Levy's comments about that achievement. Off to LAFC in America. He had interest from Saudi Arabia, but we understand at talkSPORT that a £15 million deal between the two clubs has been agreed, and that will be Son's next destination and probably where he sees out his career. And I have to say, it was quite emotional, him being given a guard of honour by both teams as Tottenham played their pre-season game yesterday.
Crookie, Alexander Isak, so the ball is now back with Liverpool. They've got the ball back in their hands. When are you expecting a follow-up on that offer that was denied the other day?
Well, I think it very much depends on Newcastle being able to source a suitable replacement. We know we broke it on Saturday morning. They've got a bid in Newcastle for Benjamin Šeško at Leipzig. At the moment, I think they're still haggling over the makeup of that £70 million offer, which would be a club record fee for Newcastle, eclipsing the £65 million they paid for Isak. Newcastle due back in the UK today after their tour over in the Far East. We know that Isak has been training away from the North East. He's been in Spain with his old club Real Sociedad, with his own fitness team. Newcastle are expecting him to return to the training ground this week, so it'll be interesting to see if and when that happens. But there were some reports on Friday night that Liverpool were ready to walk away. I don't see that. I don't think you get this far down the road with what would be a British record transfer just to walk away when the first offer is rejected. So I don't think Newcastle fans are out of the woods just yet.
If Liverpool do come back in, is that dependent in any way on the future of Darwin Núñez?
I think it would help. Obviously, they made decent money by selling Luis Diaz to Bayern Munich. Núñez is the other player they're looking to get off the books. Maybe Harvey Elliott as well, if a big offer comes in for him. Napoli was his preferred destination earlier in the summer, but they weren't willing to meet Liverpool's asking price and have since moved on to other targets. Al Hilal, the Saudi team, are now the most advanced in terms of negotiations. I think in an ideal world, Liverpool would want in excess of £60 million for Núñez. Whether Al Hilal are prepared to pay that, I think, is open to debate. What we can say is that he had previously agreed terms with Al Nassr for a big money move, and if Al Hilal are willing to honour those terms, then there's every possibility this move gets done.
Benjamin Šeško, of course, still with both Manchester United and Newcastle United. If I was a fan of either of those two clubs, I want to hear the players saying, I really want to go to X or Y. But any movement on that? How long is it liable to be? Because we're getting close to the start of the new season.
Yeah, we are. And obviously this is the deal, as I mentioned, that could have direct implications for Alexander Isak. So I think Newcastle, having made that bid on Saturday morning, want a quick answer from the player himself. Do you want to come to St James's Park, or do we need to move on to alternative targets? The sense I'm getting is that he's waiting for Manchester United to make their move, and that probably would be his preferred destination. But they need to shift players in order to facilitate that. I know they've offered Rasmus Højlund to RB Leipzig in some kind of exchange deal to try and help this one over the line. For his part, Højlund has made it quite clear. He spoke to reporters in the mix zone. He actually asked, does anyone want to interview me after the game against Bournemouth last week? And said, I want to stay at Manchester United. I want to fight for my place. He said, I'm only 22. There's still more to come from me. So I think he's going to prove a difficult one to shift.
Yeah, and it's just gone, Crookie, isn't it? Just at the moment, there's a little bit of a lull. There's like a lot of teams posturing and waiting and about to try and conclude a deal. Once one of those big ones happens, then usually others start to roll in after that.
Yeah, we had a bit of a flurry, didn't we, at the start of the window, that sort of extra 10-day window before the Club World Cup. Then it went a bit quiet as that tournament was happening. Then there were more deals done. But you're right, we seem to be talking about the same players day in, day out at the moment. I do expect it to get busy towards the end of the window. Still a lot of clubs who need to do business. People like Fulham even have had a relatively quiet summer so far. David Moyes obviously voiced his frustration. West Ham need players through the door. I know they're trying to work on a goalkeeper as a priority target. But you're right, if this Šeško deal does happen, that could have a domino effect in terms of Isak to Liverpool. Yeah. It could also have an impact on Johan Wissa from Brentford to Newcastle. Brentford's stance on him just seemed to be softening over the weekend. Obviously, he's still refusing to train at the moment with the rest of his teammates, which I'm not sure will have gone down well in the dressing room. So, yeah, plenty of business, I think, still to be done. I still think we're going to be talking about a record-breaking summer in terms of money spent.
Crookie, they're keeping you busy. Thank you very much indeed.
Thanks, mate.
No worries, boys.
Liverpool's Tyler Morton, says Tony, going to Lyon today for £15 million. Medical is imminent there. Just one quick word about Daniel Levy. Text here, an interesting one as well. Jeff, Daniel Levy's very much like deadly Doug Ellis.
Yeah.
He never got the credit during his reign. He said, but he kept Villa, like Levy has kept Spurs, as a competitive, strong, safe team in the top flight. Look at the turmoil after Doug left, which is a very fair point.
Good point.
Yeah. 8:59, coming up, we're joined live in the studio by Manchester United legend Rio Ferdinand. He's with us next.
Life after football. For a lot of players, it means going into punditry. Some turn to coaching or working in the game in other ways. But what about the rest? Some former footballers turn their sights away from the game, and there are a few big surprises. First up, from rainbow flicks to pancake flips. Ex-Chelsea and Southampton defender Ken Monku switched up his footballing career to buy a Dutch pancake house. He bought out the shop, which had been his favourite pancake spot as a child, and before long he was mixing the batter and getting behind the stove. Next, Everton legend Thomas Gravesen swapped out the high stakes of the Premier League for those of the poker room. He made over 150 appearances for the Toffees and won the Scottish Premier League with Celtic. Turned out the Danish international was pretty darn good at poker. He racked up a reported £100 million from his Las Vegas adventures. Remember former Chelsea goalkeeper Petr Cech? Turns out football nets weren't the only goals he was pretty handy in front of. After retirement, he became a goaltender in ice hockey. Same skills, very different surface. And he even won a Division 2 title with Guildford Phoenix. For ex-Liverpool centre-back Daniel Agger, it wasn't just fancy footwork that was in his blood. He was also pretty good with his hands. The Denmark international turned to tattoo artistry after he hung up his boots. He'd qualified as a skin artist while at Anfield, and he then became the co-owner of his own tattoo company as well. It's not all glamour for ex-pros, though. 1966 World Cup winner Ray Wilson set up a very different kind of business. He became an undertaker after he retired. Finally, not many people can say they've won both a World Cup and starred in an Oscar-winning film. In fact, there's only one person in the entire world who can say that. Frank Leboeuf, the former Chelsea defender, was part of the 1998 France squad who won the World Cup. He ended up marking Brazil's Ronaldo in the final and helped his side to a 3-0 win. But Leboeuf had already begun acting on the side while he was playing football, and his biggest role came some years after his retirement when he landed the part of a doctor in the Stephen Hawking biopic The Theory of Everything.
I embrace the career of acting, so I want to learn more. So seeing lots of movies is a part of my job.
To be honest, with all the dramatic diving in the game these days, there's probably tons of ex-pros who've got the acting skills to make it in Hollywood.
Good morning, 4 minutes past 9 o'clock. It is Monday the 4th of August. This is talkSPORT Breakfast with Arnold Clark. Build your own car deal online or with a few clicks. They make buying your next car easy. I'm Jeff Stelling. Andy Townsend's with me. We're here through till 10 o'clock. Spurs fans, let's hear from you. Daniel Levy spoken to the Overlap podcast, claiming he'll only get the credit he deserves after he leaves. Will you remember him fondly once he's left the club? 03717223344 is the number. Do give us a call. Right, as we get closer and closer to the start of the new Premier League season, the excitement is getting bigger and bigger. So this morning we have a special guest live here in the studio to get us all that bit more excited. A man who used to do this.
It's a good ball. Ferdinand's there. Oh, what about that for a finish? Rio Ferdinand. Sahar taken away by Carragher. Is not exactly moving smoothly. Ferdinand, he's done it again.
Yeah, Rio Ferdinand is with us for the next half hour or so. Morning, Rio.
Morning, Rio.
How you doing, guys?
Yeah, good. What are you up to at the moment, then?
Flying around the world, meeting loads of footballers and loads of fans. It's been great, I'll be honest with you. Obviously, I've been immersed in media with you guys, a different format, obviously, with TNT. I've kind of moved away from that now and kind of going with my own media company, Rio Presents, and just taking that around the world. This game, you don't know it better than anyone. It's a global game, and I was in New York and Chicago last week with a Man United team on tour, and just like the fanfare there is ridiculous, much more than when I used to go as a player. It's grown even more. You can see the game, and I'm going to be doing that all season. I'm going around the world, going to loads of different clubs, meeting loads of players, interviewing players. Got loads of stuff in the pipe coming out. Harry Maguire interview popping out.
Great.
Rooney interview. So yeah, we can't wait.
And because it's your own channel, Rio, there's certain stuff. Look, when you're with a broadcaster, there's certain stuff you can do, you can't do. They won't allow you to. They don't want you to do.
Yeah.
For you now, your own entity, your own. You can, when you get in front of these
restrictions are gone.
They're all gone, aren't they?
Yeah. And you can be a little bit more bolshy. You can, like you say, there isn't like a corporation behind you that they've got to answer a lot of questions, and you've got to tiptoe sometimes around certain people or topics. So this is going to be a lot more free, a lot more kind of off the cuff. And again, I think when you're talking to players, managers, people that run football clubs, the inner workings of a club, being that little bit more authentic and having that ability to kind of move about a bit more freely, I think it definitely shows off when you're doing it.
Do you know, Jeff, Howard Stern, right? Howard Stern, a very famous jockey, disc jockey in the States. You know, he took that kind of attitude with a lot of the people from the acting world and the music business with his interviews, and I don't know if you've ever seen any of his stuff, Rio, from yesterday. You know, some of it is really near the mark, and
crazy.
But it's that sort of thing. It's all of a sudden going down, scratching the surface, going down a completely different road. You know, so I get it. Yeah.
Well, look, let's talk Manchester United. You've been around the Manchester United squad, obviously, then. And I sense from the outside that there's a lot more optimism about Manchester United this season. Is that the impression you get?
Yeah, definitely. I think that what I found when I went on tour, I was living and breathing with them for a bit. I lived in the same hotel, going and watching training. There was a togetherness there that I haven't felt for a while. There's a message that's being drilled in from the hierarchy all the way through the staff to the players of a work ethic, as a togetherness. I see them that they're moving around in groups. They've got the boys there. That's an important thing. You know what it's like when you're on tour. These tours, this is one thing that I got from the tour, is that you could see why Amorim didn't want to go during the middle of the season, because the tour and pre-season is so important. Being on the grass, getting your message across is one, but the togetherness, being together in hotels for 2.5, 3 weeks is such a huge important factor in terms of building relationships, seeing what people are like in different scenarios, so you can then adjust the way you approach people. He will know these players better in the last 2 or 3 weeks than he has, I think, for the rest of the whole of last season. He will know people in a much more personable way, in that he can attack and approach people in a way because he's seen and worked with them closely and knows them better as human beings. And I think I'm interested to see how that then pans out in the season. The problem you've got, if you look at the fixture list, Man United's fixture list is horrendous the first 6 games. It's tough.
Very tough.
So all this good work that we're seeing and we're hearing about and coming out at a club, and that, what I saw, could be undone within the first 6 games if it doesn't go well. So that's going to be an important factor. The two have to marry up. You can't have one and then the results don't follow. You need both of them to kind of marry up, and then you can say, you know what, actually, Man United are in a better place, and I can see the benefits of the pre-season and the work on the grass.
You know how heavy that shirt is, Rio, putting the red on at Old Trafford. What you saw of Mateus Cunha and Brian Mbeumo, those sort of guys, do you think they'll be able to hack it? Because I've seen a lot of people turn up at Old Trafford in recent seasons, and you're just looking at me thinking, it's a bit too big for you, this one, I'm afraid. What about those boys? I mean, there's a lot of money been spent on them. There's a lot of optimism around them. Do you think they will be able to, knowing what you know?
Well, I spent a bit of time with Cunha. His character and personality suggests to me that he will embrace it.
Right.
Very confident kid. Free going, that Brazilian, I'm here, I'm going to show you what I got vibe, which was pleasing to see that. But again, we got to have patience and see. But Mbeumo interested me a lot. There's a serious side to him. There's a professionalism there that will enhance the environment. I think he works his balls off on and off the pitch, but off the pitch he's got a team he's built around him, a nutritionist, a S&C coach, a chef, etc.
Wow.
A real detailed approach to it. So, and he's shown he can score. He's been here 6 years. He's shown he can score goals. So those two, I think, are going to definitely add a positive streak to the club. But listen, you've got to wait for the games. We interviewed Mbeumo for his first interview for my channel, which was great. And when you get that detail and that closeness of him, it was a real positive feeling I got from him.
Yeah, well, he's absolutely brilliant, wasn't he, for Brentford? It's a very different beast, we know.
Yeah.
You know, playing for Brentford and playing for Manchester United. You talk about the groups and the good feeling amongst them all and the such like. Is that why Amorim was so determined that he wouldn't be taking the so-called bomb squad with him on this tour?
Well, yeah, I think the squad's environment and culture is more important than any individual, and I think that the whole club seems to have bought into that now. It was interesting to see what Luke Shaw said the other day. You see his quotes saying that we've not got the stragglers around anymore, and that was like, I thought, whoa, that's a strong statement to say that. But I think that only gets said when you can see positive change within the club, and I think that's where they're at now. And I think Amorim's been very blunt and blatant, and we always ask for players and managers to be transparent and give us, come on, tell us the truth. He's doing that. And one of the main things that comes out of his mouth consistently is, if you're not going to work hard and produce what I'm asking of you in terms of just output, forget quality, just output of effort, etc., you ain't going to play for me.
Because you look at all those players. You all know. I mean, Garnacho, we all know Garnacho can play. Sanchez, all know he can play. Marcus Rashford, all know he can play.
Talent, all of them.
Yeah.
But if he's what he's basically said is, if you're not going to graft and run for me, you ain't playing. And those four players, or your attitude isn't where I need it to be.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you think do they? Is there any fear? Do they fear Amorim? Do you not think, Rios, when you was working under Fergie, the best managers you play for, there's a little bit in there where you're wary of them a little bit? I find Ruben Amorim really personable, really open. Yeah, all that's great. Does he need to have that little bit of something else?
Yeah, but that don't come day one.
No,
that can't come day one. Like, not that he's come from, with all due respect, from Sporting Lisbon, so it's a great club in Portugal.
Yeah.
But in terms of stature in Europe and worldwide, it isn't the Man United. So to come, like I said again, you can't create that fear. You can create a respect immediately, like I think he's doing now. He stands by his word. He said, if you don't do this, you're not going to play. He's showing that and proving that. But to get the fear factor, you got to win. You got to win. You got to show that you can win.
Yeah.
Then the belief comes, I'm going to follow this geezer. It's like Sir Alex Ferguson. I was following that guy blind.
Yeah.
But that's on the back of 20 odd years of winning. So it's quite easy for him to do that and get players buying in immediately. This guy's got to build back. It's an enormous task. Do you know what I mean? And to do that, to get that fear factor immediately is difficult because it's been shattered in the last 12 years.
Very true.
Yeah. How long will they give him? Because football is such an impatient blooming business, isn't it? You know, he knows. He said when he went into Sporting Lisbon, didn't happen straight away.
Yeah.
Took him time. I mean, they've got to give him time, haven't they?
I think that's an important point, Jeff. You hit the nail on the head there, time. But we're not afforded that in this game, no matter what role you're playing. But you have to look at his previous work. It didn't happen overnight at Sporting, but when he got it right, they blew Benfica and Porto out of the water, and that's not an easy thing to do in Portugal because they're the two dominant forces. You've got to give this guy time. Again, this is only, I think how many players has he brought in? 3 players.
Yeah,
that were his own players. Yeah. So he hasn't even had his own. This isn't. There's no identity of his players in this squad yet.
No.
I think he needs a time to get to that. The next window, I think it should be go blind, and he just goes to that window at least, gets that window, gets to invest again, unless it's actually catastrophic by that point. But give him a chance to get to that window, some more players in, and then you can start saying this looks like an Amorim squad. Now, how are they doing?
Yeah. I'm intrigued, Rio, in so many ways for Manchester United. Obviously there's a lot of emphasis on the coach. As I said, he seems a really nice open guy. He does. Defensively, the two boys we spoke about, they've added up front. There's even talk of a striker maybe. At the back, are you seeing enough there in order to let those forward boys flourish?
I think you can pick holes in individuals, but I think the most important thing is how the team function. The team weren't fit enough to play an Amorim style of football last year. I think they're hitting that in pre-season to get them fitter. You can see signs of that already, but they've got to understanding what he wants as individuals, but as a collective is vitally important. So whatever you can do individually, yes, we can pick at that, but the squad wasn't working, the team shape wasn't working last year, and then that leaves players individually open to get exposed. And for instance, transitions. Man United were getting hit on transitions all the time last season. They haven't actually got the profile of player to deal with that.
No.
There's no athleticism centre of midfield.
Correct.
There's no athleticism in centre. It's Dele and Harry Maguire. Yoro, yes, is athletic, but again, 19 adjusting.
Kid, yeah.
Heaven adjusting, young kid as well, inexperienced. So you need to have the team functioning to help those individuals. And I think that's what I'm hoping the pre-season that Amorim's had with his team to really implement all these ideas into this squad to do that.
Rio staying with us. Coming up, we'll hear some of your questions for Rio and find out if he believes Marcus Rashford's move to Barcelona could help him get back in the England squad for the World Cup. That's next. Good morning, 9:20, Monday the 4th of August. This is talkSPORT Breakfast with Arnold Clark. Build your own car deal online or with a few clicks and buying your next car easy. I'm Jeff Stelling. Andy Townsend is with me, and so too is the Manchester United and England legend Rio Ferdinand. Rio, we talked about Man United signings. Tell you what, they got a new signing on the basis of what I saw last night, and that's Mason Mount, because when he came on, he was terrific, and what a bonus that would be for United if they can keep him fit.
Yeah, I saw him out in Chicago, and that's one of the things I said to him, like, how are you feeling? because he's been robbed of any minutes really for injury, and it's been really, really disappointing to see. And you take you back to when you played, being injured and in the shadows. I never had that at a new club, but when I was at a club, just that is so depressing. Yeah, it can take your soul away at times, and I'm sure he's been in some dark moments, but. Yeah, he will be like a new signing. I think, listen, he's no surprise, whenever he's been fit in his career, he's played. At Chelsea especially, and the managers have played him when they won the Champions League, one of the most important players. He has the quality, he has the work ethic, he has the legs, he has the ability to be a really, really good top player, and I just hope he gets the time to play minutes to show himself.
Yeah.
I've got some messages for you we've had sent in, Rio. 81089 if you want to text in. James, as Manchester United fans, asking about Marcus Rashford. Do you think the move to Barcelona could help him make the England squad next summer? Do you think he'll get the game time?
I don't think he should be thinking about anything other than Barcelona. I don't think he can be. He hasn't warranted thinking about England for the last few years. I think his full focus should be on getting in and around that team and having impact. Initially, I don't think he'll start. You got Rafinha, who's there talking about a Ballon d'Or. Lamine Yamal talking about a Ballon d'Or, and 30-something or 40-something goals Lewandowski up there. So I think he has to go, and when he gets minutes, impact. Impact. And if he does that, I think he could have a wonderful time there. I really hope he does. He hasn't had a good couple of years. That's been well documented, but this is a wonderful opportunity for a player to be able to go to Barcelona, one of the prestige clubs in the world, to go and perform. You just wait. When that moment comes, do not let it go.
What happened with Jadon Sancho? Rio? What do you think's happened there?
Yeah, I don't know. He's from my area. I know his dad. I know I've known of him for a long, long time, and this kid's ability, I'm telling you, is up there with the best players around. We've seen when he was at Dortmund. If you look at the clips as a kid from Man City, always head and shoulders above anyone. But for whatever reason that is, and we don't know. Again, people at Man United have been trying to unpick why can't we transfer that into a Man United shirt? Is it the size of the club? Is it the application from the player? Has the club let him down? There's so many. What is the reason? Until he comes out one day and speaks about it, I don't think we'll know. But he hasn't been able to transfer his abilities that we've seen as a player at Dortmund into a Manchester United shirt. It just hasn't happened. It's been disappointing.
And look, you did that when you left a big club in Leeds to go to United. So for people like Jadon Sancho, obviously done so well out in Germany, and then all of a sudden he rocks up at Old Trafford. What is the fundamental difference at Old Trafford compared to these other places where people have excelled, and yet they come to Manchester and find it really tough? What is it?
Expectations are different. The expectations, and then the focus on Manchester United. If a Chelsea player, centre half, has a bad game one week, really, do we really hear about it? Do you guys? Is it a focal point of your discussion on a Monday morning?
Not as much.
Is it same with an Arsenal player? If it's a Man United player, it's a months-long conversation. Lenny Yoro had a bad game against Southampton. Everybody's writing him off. How many bad games did Levi Colwell have last year? You would have had one or two. Never heard about it. There's a big difference in the attention that a Man United player gets. And other fans of other clubs will go, what you talk, it's a fact.
Yeah.
Because I speak to the players now that go to Man United, and they're like, all of them, no matter where they've come from, is like, didn't realise how big this club was. And the difference with me, sorry Jeff, with me, when I went into a winning environment. I think it's a lot easier to go into a winning, confident, who all know what they're doing without even the manager having to speak. Whereas this lot are all looking for answers.
Bruno Fernandes, sorry Jeff, Bruno, just very quickly, Bruno has been the one sort of player that they've signed in the not too distant past that has been able to hack it, Rio, and does seem to thrive on the responsibility. Not always great to start with, but certainly I think now very much a go-to sort of player.
Yeah, 100%. He has the character, he has the personality. He wants to be the main man. He's embraced that. All I've just said that could be turned into negatives, he's embraced that and said, put it on my shoulders, I will handle it. Backed up by quality.
Yeah.
Let's bang through a couple of questions from listeners. George said, could you ask Rio what he makes of Dele Alli possibly retiring at 29?
Oh, well, what a shame that, isn't it? That's another conundrum that you're looking at and going, do you know, I saw an interview that they'd done a documentary with Jose Mourinho.
Yeah, that one,
That hit home, man. That was like Jose Mourinho. He had that Mystic Meg, didn't he? The way that panned out. Again, that's another. I think there's a lot more going on behind the scenes with Dele. And I think it will be a nod to looking at players and going, actually, these guys aren't superhuman. They are real human beings that do have issues as well, do have problems. And if they're not addressed and you're not helped along the way at times, or they're not open for help, it can lead to situations like we're seeing with Dele. Because listen, at one point in his career, people were saying numbers-wise, he was doing more than Gerrard, Lampard, Scholes, like ridiculous. And the trajectory was like, woof.
Yeah.
And he's obviously kind of fell off a cliff, but the reasons, I think, are a lot more deeper than we see.
Dean says, can you ask Rio what he thinks of Jared Branthwaite and James Tarkowski, statistically amongst the best defenders last season?
Yeah, I mean, I think they were the bedrock of that team in terms of staying up and remaining as Premier League team. James Tarkowski's been, I think he's been exceptional. I think he's first time he missed any minutes last season when he got injured. He's been an absolute, I think, rock for them. And I think he's been a huge help for someone like Jared. Who anyone I speak to, whether it's Ashley Young or David Moyes, who have had the chance to play with or coach him, they all unanimously say he's going to go to the top.
A couple of quick ones. Jill says, who do you think our back three will be for the first match?
If all fit, I think. If everyone's fit, I think he'll play Yoro on the right, Maguire or Dele, and Luke Shaw on the left.
Yeah, it'd be great if Luke can stay fit as well. Here's Jim, the United fan. Rio being with the team, do you think that Jim Ratcliffe has had a positive impact on the club?
I think initially it was. When he first came in, it was like the knight in shining armour when he came in, because the club was at such a low ebb. I think there's been bits in between in terms of getting rid of certain members of staff, or the amount of members of staff that have been there for a long time. And the way in which that was done, I think, led to being a bit of a bitter taste in a lot of people's mouths. But I think time will tell how well him and this regime do, because you can't judge this on the back of a year. It's got to be judged over a course of time, because it's 12 years of it unfolding and being so bad and negative around the club that 1 year isn't going to change that. I think you've got to have a good few years at it to reshape the place. There's a new training ground now. The plans for a new stadium are coming. Recruitment now under his regime is going to be, I'm hoping, a bit different and more positive, and it's the signs are positive in that sense. So all these things added up, they're not going to happen overnight to be able to judge him.
Interesting.
What would be a good season for United, Rio? Where do you think they'll finish
Top 8.
this season? Top 8.
Yeah. Top 8, I think, is realistic.
Fantastic. And where can we hear your stuff from now on?
Go on to Rio Presents on YouTube. Again, every Monday we're there. I'm going out after here to do a show. And we've got some massive interviews coming. Harry Maguire dropping soon. Like I said, Wayne Rooney. And I'm going to some clubs around the Champions League, Europe, to interview some of the biggest players and managers. So
tough
can't
life,
wait.
mate. Tough life, isn't it?
Yeah. Just subscribe and you'll see it, Jeff.
Rio, really appreciate coming in, mate.
Love to see you. Great show. Love the show, by the way.
Oh, thanks, Rio. Hope it all goes really well. I'm certain it will. So, Rio Ferdinand, former Manchester United, England legend. Legend's battered around too much, isn't it? But it's definitely the case with you, mate.
Quite right.
Thank you.
Coming up, we hear from Daniel Levy's interview with The Overlap and find out if Spurs fans agree with him that he will get the credit he deserves, he says, once he's left the club. That's next.
When was the last time you saw someone score with a knuckleball free kick? We're going to take a look at why we're not seeing them anymore and explain a bit about how they work. The knuckleball peaked in the 2010s after that Ronaldo strike against Portsmouth in 2008 inspired academy players everywhere. Here's a young Mason Mount.
I tried to base my free kick on Ronaldo, hit the ball by the valve and it moves. So what do you do? Top corner.
Now, no ball is perfectly aerodynamic, so as it travels it creates ever-changing pockets of turbulent air, causing that unpredictable movement. Football's most prolific free-kick taker, Juninho Pernambucano, perfected the technique but didn't invent it. He was inspired by players from the 90s and even the 50s. So how do you do it? You have to hit the ball head-on with as short a contact time as possible so the ball doesn't spin. Hitting by the valve helps with that short contact time as it's the hardest part of the football. So why don't we see knuckleballs much anymore? It's because players are being told not to shoot from dead ball situations because the XG is so low. In fact, as Opta shows here, since the 08-09 season there's been a 10% reduction in players shooting from free kicks in the Premier League. And in 23-24, a record low of 11 free kicks found the back of the net. And the knuckleball, though spectacular, is imprecise, which is why it's becoming a thing of the past.
Very good morning to you. It is 9:34, Monday the 4th of August. This is talkSPORT Breakfast with Arnold Clark. Get the UK's best used car deals guaranteed. I'm Jeff Stelling. Andy Townsend is with me as well. Just reading, Alan Shearer's been speaking out about Alexander Isak and saying basically they need to get him out of the club now and there is no turning back. Literally the quote from Shearer is, I want him to be out now. You get your big money for him, whoever's prepared to pay that, and you get other people in, and then you move on. No individual is bigger than any football club. If he doesn't want to be there, fine. Get what you can, get him out, say thanks very much for the memories, off you go. Those are the views of Alan Shearer on Alexander Isak. Meanwhile, Spurs chairman Daniel Levy's been speaking to the Overlap podcast. He says he'll be remembered more fondly once he's left the club.
I think it's one of those situations, when I'm not here, I'm sure I'll get the credit.
So you think you'll have to basically sort of... you think you'll have to exit?
I think it's one of these things that, you know, when you come here and you look at this wonderful building, and the fact that other clubs now are trying to copy what we're doing should be a sign that actually maybe we did something a bit bold and right.
I mean, the question to me is not, and I don't mean this unkindly, honestly, Andy, is not whether Spurs fans remember him fondly. It's whether they'll remember him in terms of they're not going to be talking about him in 10, 15 years' time in the same way as they would be talking about Son or Harry Kane.
No, of course not. No, and look, and I don't think Daniel for 1 second is expecting anything like that. Certainly that the stadium will be his legacy. The stadium will be certainly the when people talk about that, about the hard work and the dedication, and obviously he put in, and the considerable expense as well, making sure that the money's available. I think he's always been one of those chairmen that's always made money available to managers that he's employed. But again, I think you're in the wrong business. If you're looking for a pat on the back as a football club chairman, I don't think you're getting it.
No.
You ain't getting it.
Of course, last season, Daniel claimed that his goal was to win the Premier League and the Champions League with Spurs, and he expanded on those comments on the overlap.
Nothing has changed in terms of our ambition. It's always been the case. I think that, having won the Europa League, thank you to Ange, you get a taste of it, but it's not enough. And it's never been enough. I mean, we've been, I think, in 16 or 17 semi-finals, 7 finals, and we haven't won enough. We now need to use that as a springboard to keep winning, because that's what this is all about. We've won 2 trophies in the last 20-plus years. We've been so close so many times. And
Why is that?
Do you know, I can't really answer that, because I'm not the one that picks the team, motivates the team, picks the players.
Yeah, and because only one side can win the Premier League, only one side can win the Champions League. If you're knocking on the door and getting to finals,
you're not far away.
You're not far away.
No, you're not far away.
That should be good enough, shouldn't it?
Yeah.
For most clubs.
For most clubs, I think so. And of course, the problem we have with football in this country, well, anywhere, is you have a good season, Jeff. If you have a good season, by that I mean finishing in the top 4 is always regarded as a good campaign for most clubs. Finish there, and then the following season you're just outside of it. All of a sudden you're going backwards. It's a failure. It's the margins are so fine between getting over the line and not. And look, Spurs last year, disastrous league campaign, and absolute at times they were a mess to watch, and it was a shame because Ange's early days at Spurs were really exciting, and then it just turned into a bit of a mess. But it finished brilliantly for him, and it gives Thomas Frank this time around a great opportunity to really go and show what he's all about. And I do think for managers nowadays, working with someone like Daniel, look, you go to a club like Spurs, and he's had Jose, he's had Conte, he's had all of them. He's had a lot of big guys there with huge reputations and egos, and he's had them and he's fired them. So I think Thomas Frank, under no illusions, he knows that he's got to very quickly get his message across and make sure that Spurs are ultra competitive. The football, Jeff, we'll see what sort of football they play, but they've got to be very competitive in all those big competitions.
Well, Daniel Levy says that Thomas Frank understands exactly what's expected of him.
Whenever you appoint a coach, you always believe it's right, and you need a lot of ingredients for it to be right. I think Thomas is a highly intelligent individual. I think he's got a fantastic way about him in terms of communication. I think he will be great at developing both young players and older players and making them better. He gets the style of football we want to play. He understands that, Rome wasn't built in a day. We haven't said to him, you've got to win the league this year. All we know is...
When does he have to win it?
As soon as possible, but no pressure. Look, we just want to compete at the highest level.
What would be a good season for Thomas Frank?
Oh dear. Again, I think the new Champions League format will help them. I do. I think we saw from watching the Champions League last season that you got these 8 games now to start with, and that whole Champions League stuff doesn't really start taking shape until you've played 3 or 4. I think that will help Tottenham in lots of ways. Where are they going to finish in the league, Jeff? 7th.
Yeah.
Something like that. My gut feeling is suggesting 6 or 7. I don't see them being in the top 4. I don't think they've got quite enough. And look, it's going to be a steep learning curve for Thomas Frank, because ever since he's been at Brentford, quite rightly, it's all been up. The trajectory has all been one way. Well, now it's going to start to wobble a little bit. Now it's going to vary a little bit because he's at a bigger club under more scrutiny. Every decision he makes will be analysed. Every substitution he makes, there'll be just a little bit more raised eyebrows here and there. And so he's got to deal with all of that as well. Very likeable guy, clearly. As I mentioned earlier, he's got to get his message across to those players very, very quickly, Jeff, for them to get off to a good start.
So Daniel Levy, speaking to the Overlap podcast, claiming he'll get the credit he deserves after he leaves. Simon, who's a Spurs fan, says, Jeff, we got to those semi-finals and finals despite having Levy and not because of him.
There you go. And there will always be Spurs fans that believe that, Jeff, always.
Yeah, and he will have his supporters as well, Daniel Levy. 03717 223344 is the number to ring. Give us a call. And Andy, you and I, we're both wrong about club chairman being remembered fondly, and Paul has put us right. And you are spot on, Paul, by the way. In my opinion, anyway, he said, I'd like to politely disagree that chairmen are not going to be remembered fondly. If the horrendous day comes when Tony Bloom has to leave his position at Brighton, it would be a bigger loss than any other member of staff at the club, including all the players. He is the legend at Brighton. That's from Paul and Finn. And actually, that's a brilliant point.
It is. Made. No, it is. Yeah, it is. He's been. He has been incredible, and the way that they are the model out there for everyone to look at and analyse and think, well, can we do it a bit like them? Because what they do at Brighton, they tend to get it right. About time they won something, Jeff. About time Brighton won something. They've got some good players, selling them for big money. So it's about time now, I think, that you start looking at a team like that thinking,
this is Brighton.
I know.
This is Brighton. You're talking about the Goldstone and the Withdean and almost relegated out the Football League. And look where they are now. They've had European football, not this next season, admittedly. They're in a magnificent stadium. They're an established Premier League club.
But I think their fans would like to see them now going the distance in one of the cup competitions. I think so. I think they're perhaps capable of it. We'll see.
We will see. Right, it is time now for this.
10k for Coldplay.
Our competition to win 10 grand and a VIP night out at Coldplay at Wembley ends tonight. So we're giving you the chance to win 6 tickets in a private box for you and your mates on August the 22nd with full hospitality, and we're chucking in that 10 grand spending money. It's tax-free, but it all ends at 11 o'clock this evening. So here's how to enter. 18 plus UK, excluding Northern Ireland. For the chance to win, text the word WIN, W-I-N, to 83338 by 11 o'clock tonight, and you're in the draw. Text costs £2 plus 1 standard network rate message. You must have the bill payer's permission, or you can post your name and number to Coldplay Competition, PO Box 3190, Colchester CO2 8GP, to arrive by 5 o'clock on Thursday, August the 7th. This is a TalkSPORT Limited promotion on TalkSPORT, Talk and Virgin Radio UK stations. Full T's and C's at talksport.com. Bit of love coming from Chairman now. Mark says, Jeff Steve Gibson at Middlesbrough.
Yeah.
GOAT chairman, he says, and he has been absolutely brilliant. And another anonymous text, Dave Whelan, still fondly remembered at Wigan. Those were the days, absolutely. Coming up, we cross live to the Oval and find out what the atmosphere is like building up to the final day of the England-India series. Good morning, it is 8:48. It is Monday, the 4th of August. We were talking about Spurs a moment or two ago. John has texted in and said, so Son gone, Maddison out for months, Kulusevski still out, Morgan Gibbs-White fiasco, Daniel Levy spent £55 million on one player, while Chelsea have spent £275 million. Good luck, Thomas Frank.
Yeah.
You'll need it, mate. Yeah. Interesting points, John. Thank you very much indeed. Just over an hour's time, one of cricket's greatest test series will come to a close. It'll end either 3-1 to England or India will head home with a 2-2 draw. Let's cross over to the Oval right now and say good morning to the Sun's cricket writer, Andy Townsend's neighbour, John Etheridge. Morning, John.
Good morning, John.
Morning, Andy. How are you doing, all right?
Very good. Jeff, the noise that used to come out of that house next door, listen, them rowdy cricketers were all in there with John partying away to the wee small hours. Over the days, John.
Yeah, I remember you and your Chelsea chums at the time were very, very quiet and reserved. I gather you live on some vast estate in the Cotswolds now.
Well,
right?
Hardly, but that's where I am. And are you still in the same place?
No, I've moved to Weybridge, a little bit upmarket from where we were before, but no, very nice. Yeah, very
good,
nice
mate. Good to hear.
So tell us, John, you're at the Oval. What are conditions like, first of all? Will it get underway on time?
Yeah, it'll start on time, I think, but it's a bit overcast, actually. Plenty of cloud cover around. So, and obviously we had a pretty sharp shower last night. So I think there'll still be a bit of movement and help for the bowlers in the pitch. But it's going to be half an hour, maybe 45 minutes of cricket, and it's going to be really exciting stuff, I think.
Yeah, obviously, at the time that it was called off yesterday, there's no. India had England by the throat, didn't they? I'm pretty sure they would have loved to have got it back out last night.
Absolutely. Those last few overs before the rain came, England could hardly score a run. Jamie Smith and Jamie Overton, they were struggling really against the Indian bowlers, even though the Indian bowlers were tired, having been on the go and put in a huge shift throughout the day. But I think England was certainly the happier team when the rain came, and it means this morning that they'll have another use of the heavy roller, which tends to deaden the pitch. But of course the Indian bowlers will come back refreshed and raring to go. So I think England would be favourites at this stage, and I'm sure Jamie Smith, the wicketkeeper, he'll give it a bit of a crack. He's an attacking batsman by instinct, and I think he'll try and get the run scored as quickly as he possibly can. Because
it's been that sort of series, hasn't it, John? There's been so much happening, so many great moments, that little bit of edge that we like. I've got a feeling they're going to take a wicket quite early, and bring it to an even more sort of dramatic finale. It's been that kind of series.
It's been amazing. The previous 4 tests have all gone to the final session of the final day, which is very rare these days. Often test matches are done in 3 or 4 days, but they've all gone the distance. This one's obviously now sneaking into the 5th day, and it's been a fantastic series. England 2-1 ahead, and I think probably flattered really by that scoreline to be 2-1 ahead. I think a fair reflection of the sort of balance of power across the 5 games would probably be a 2-2 draw, but obviously England are going for the 3-1 win. And then, of course, we've got this enticing prospect, if they do lose a couple of wickets, of Chris Woakes coming out to bat with his sling. So that really would be high drama.
John, will there be anybody there to see it?
Yeah, I think it's going to be pretty much a full house. People coming in already. Yeah,
for half an hour's cricket? Wow.
I know. I think a lot of tickets were sold in advance, and so I think it's going to be a big crowd. Wouldn't be surprised if the majority of them are supporting India as well, because that's the way it tends to work. On the last day of these Test matches throughout the summer. So I think it's going to be great atmosphere, high drama, and I say, if Chris Woakes has to come into bat, then goodness knows what's going to happen.
John, thank you very much indeed.
Nice one, John.
Pleasure, guys. Take care.
That's the Sun's cricket writer, John Etheridge. Don't forget, if you're abroad, by the way, you can listen to live coverage of the talkSPORT Cricket YouTube channel.
I was just about to say there, Jeff, John has been the cricket correspondent, hasn't he, for the Sun for a long time.
Yeah.
He has.
And when we're off the air, I'm going to ask you about the Chelsea parties that he mentioned there.
Yeah.
OK, right, let's finish with a bit of this.
Do you know, I'm going to say something here, Ali. Not for me, Clive. That's just something you just say to people. Any second now, we're going to hear the biggest rip where his bum cheeks come flying out the back of them strides. Oh, it's lovely when you wake up, there's a mattress outside your front door, isn't there? We got a bloke at work, we call him Pothole because everyone tries to avoid him. I thought I saw something similar to a large cat. Not for me, Clive.
Yeah, well, Andy made that phrase his own, didn't he? Not for me, Clive. It's legendary. Thanks to his use of it on commentary duty. Let's put the hottest topics around to our very own Andy Townsend. Tell him, him to tell us, let's get this right, if it's for him or not for him, Clive.
Right.
First up, right. Not the sort of scenes you want to see at League Two Walsall yesterday, where a Swindon Town fan, during their 2-1 defeat, appeared to throw an object towards the Walsall goalkeeper. Manager Ian Holloway reacted to the incident and slammed the fan who threw the object. Take a listen to this.
I want to fight for things, but what you don't do is rip out a seat, throw it. And whoever was stood by the person who did it, I need you to step forward and say, actually, I'm not having that in football. I want to bring my grandchildren to watch my team. And I wouldn't want Walsall thinking that about all of us. So whoever the bloke is, I want him dobbed in, because that's not right, that's not football. You think you're clever, you think you're upset and all of this, just shut your face and get out of the game. That's how I feel. It's absolutely disgusting.
Well, every self-respecting football fan would agree with him, wouldn't they?
Of course they. Yeah, that's for me, Clive. Definitely, what Holly said there is spot on. You know, back in my day, they used to throw a pie or something, or a sausage roll or something. You know, something like that would come flying out, and people used to pick them up and take a bite out of it and have a bit of. When you start throwing stuff and like seriously trying to hurt people, then you are definitely in the wrong business. And actually, I always say, Jeff, whenever people are throwing coins as they have done and objects, someone see them do it, and it is the right thing to do. You need to point them out to the authorities and get them slung out, because we don't want them back.
Yeah, no place whatsoever for it in football. I mean, for goodness sake, what on earth makes you do something like that? Speaking of managers, Rangers manager Russell Martin didn't criticise his own fans. He went after his own players instead.
I think we were lucky to get a point. We were nowhere near where we need to be, and I'm extremely disappointed and hurt by that. They were braver than us, they were more aggressive than us. There is a default here. The default is to revert to type, which is when it's going really well, everyone's all in, it's really good. When it's not going well, you protect yourself a little bit, and the self-preservation stuff. So we had two men on the pitch today that want to do what they want to do. When you want to just jog around and do what you want to do, there's a big problem. So some of them have to drop their ego.
So managers criticising their own players, for me or not for me, Clive?
For me, Clive. I think every now and again it's managers, they are entitled to do it. Not every week, and of course not. But I think it's very early days for Russell at Rangers, and I do think that there's nothing wrong with. He was quite generic about the way that he criticised.
Didn't name anybody.
I think if you're going to go after individuals, then I think then you are heading for a bit of a fall. But he used the we term, the generic term, a lot. I don't think there's anything wrong with that at all. Look, the game is always all about moving forward and change and this and that. That one component for a manager, I don't think will ever change, and that's the right to have a go at your players if they're not doing it and not putting it in. And I think Russell's quite right to do it.
Yeah, and he's laid down the law immediately.
Exactly.
So they know exactly what to expect, and hopefully, from his point of view, then there will be a response, a reaction.
Correct. They get a reaction this morning, Jeff, as they go into the office, as they go in today into training. They'll be under no illusions, and one or two of them will be thinking, I might be in, I might be out for the next game. That little bit of unpredictability, I don't think is a bad thing from time to time. Not all the time, but from time to time, I think you can play that card and it can be very useful.
Yeah. I mean, bear in mind as well, Celtic were only 3 minutes away from dropping points yesterday against St Mirren as well. It's early doors. It's the first week of the season. Long way to go. Now, not for us, there's not a long way to go.
Jeff, very quickly before we go, I want to know what you're looking forward to now. The bit of cricket that's going to start shortly, or Love Island later on.
I'm going out tonight, so I won't be watching Love Island, absolutely not. But I will be watching the cricket when it gets underway, and purely from the point of view of getting some sleep, I hope it doesn't go on for too long. Andy, thanks very much indeed. Enjoyed your company once again. Have a fantastic day.
And you, pal.
Join Alan Pardew and me tomorrow from 6. We will be joined by Sheffield Wednesday's Barry Bannon tomorrow morning, so you won't want to miss that. Up next, it's Adeola Depot and Simon Jordan.